A service of KIBMradio.com, the Internet's home for an all-old-time radio.
This I believe. Dr. Galen Jones is an official in the Office of Education in the Federal Security Agency. He has had an extensive background for this work. He was a teacher, principal, and assistant superintendent of schools over a period of some 30 years. Against this background, Dr. Jones now states his creed.
My basic belief is in the inherent dignity and unique worth of the individual personality. Assuredly, this belief in the sacredness of the individual personality was nurtured in a home where, as a child, I found response to essential needs, security through understanding and love, encouragement by recognition of personal uniqueness, and new experiences appropriate to sound growth and development. Early, no doubt by reason of family devotions and exposure to the teachings of a minister father who was at once both simple and profound, there grew naturally a faith in a universal God who made each person a free agent to be or not to be a person of dignity and worth. When I was 19 and a junior in college, my father was stricken with what proved to be a fatal illness. During the 2 weeks prior to his death, it was my privilege to sit with him in the hospital at night. With possible forebodings of the outcomes of his illness, he was concerned with my then consuming interest in the study of philosophy, and especially in relation to my eventual faith and beliefs. These we discussed as persistently as his failing strength would permit. Finally, a few nights before his passing, he remarked that on some things highly valued by him we apparently could not agree, but that he wanted me to sense fully his confidence in my integrity. His last words to me are cherished both as a blessing and a guide. They were that each person is responsible ultimately for his own choices, his own beliefs, and his own conduct. Thus, I take it, came the core of the faith by which I live. A lifetime of work with youth has but strengthened my belief that in respect for personality, we find the cornerstone of our American values. In a brief talk, I can mention but a few of the things which this conviction means to me, not only as an educator, but also as a parent and citizen. It means recognition of the capacity for growth and a feeling of responsibility for helping everyone secure a fair chance to develop and realize his potentialities. From long companionship with developing youth, I have increasing confidence in the efficacy of freedom. Every time I look at the statue of freedom which crowns the dome of our national capital, I am aware that rightly she looks, by day and by night, toward the Supreme Court and the Library of Congress. To be free, I believe every person is entitled to justice and to learning. To me, it is an irrefutable consequence of man's inherent dignity that authoritarian ways of life can never successfully compete in the long run with the way of responsible participation. Free men, by their very character, cannot long be subdued, and in collaboration with other free men, will always see to it that their institutions are the servants of the general welfare. Thus, the homes, the churches, the free schools, and our representative government together can provide the climate which nurtures self-improvement, the climate which permits man to be true to himself. This I believe.
That was Dr. Galen Jones, a resident of Washington, D.C., and an official of the Federal Security Agency.
Anchor Hocking Glass Corporation brings you Crime Photographer.
30 days has September, April, June, and November. All the rest have 31, and this ain't leap year, thank heavens. Thursday the 7th. Casey!
What? Hey, don't scare me like that.
Casey, we're famous.
Famous?
We've been on the air just a year today for Anchor Hocking, and they're famous.
Right, Ethelbert. Anchor Hocking, the most famous name in glass. Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. This is Tony Marvin. Every week at this time, the Anchor Hocking Glass Corporation of Lancaster, Ohio, and its more than 10,000 employees bring you another adventure of Casey, crime photographer, ace cameraman who covers the crime news of a great city. Written by Alonzo Dean Cole, our adventure for tonight, Death in Lover's Lane. A moonlight night, a lonely road, a parked car in which, close together, sit a man and woman. Ah, romance. And then, from the dense woods that line the road, the sharp snapping of a twig.
Bill.
Something's moving behind those trees.
A man.
I see.
He's coming this way.
What's your car doing here?
Is that any of your business, mister?
I think so. I'm a police detective.
Bill.
Quiet, Nora. What do you want, officer?
Stay where you are.
He's pointing a gun at us.
What's the big idea, fella? You're a cop. Let's see your badge.
This gets my badge. Both of you stick up your hands.
My hands are coming up, mister. With this.
You got him in the arm, Bill. Knocked the gun out of his hand. He's running.
All right, you phony. Now stop or I'll kill you. I'm a real cop, and this is your last warning. Okay.
He made the woods. He's getting away.
I'm going after him. Now blow your whistle, Nora, and signal the boys to close in. This guy is the Lover's Lane killer.
The man got away from you in those woods, officer?
Yeah, that's right, Miss Williams. But Nora Ryan, the policewoman who was working this trap with me, had a prowl car here in a few minutes, and they radioed the precinct station to have the woods surrounded. The guy can't possibly get away.
I wish I was sure of that, Dino. Our guys have been searching those woods for an hour now and haven't found him. You should have shot him down when he started to run.
Well, I'm sorry I didn't do a better job, Captain.
Logan, why do you pick on Bill Dano?
Why, Casey?
Yeah. He and that policewoman have been laying traps for this Lover's Lane murderer ever since he began killing people 3 or 4 months ago. Well, the guy walked right into one tonight, and Dano and Nora Ryan sprung it on him hard. They did the best they could. Killer's bottled up in these woods, wounded and without a gun. You're sure to find him when daylight comes.
If this killer gets away after we had him in our hands...
Do you think it's really the Lover's Lane murderer who came after Dano and Mrs. Ryan tonight?
Well, we can't be sure, Miss Williams. The only people who've seen the Lover's Lane murderer in action didn't live long enough to describe him. We found their bodies slumped in cars parked on lonely roads like this one. The dead bodies are 6 couples so far, with 32 slugs through their heads. And the guy who walked into one of our police traps tonight may have intended nothing more than a hold-up.
Well, the gun that Dano shot out of his hand was a .32.
There are a lot of .32 revolvers in illegal circulation, Miss Williams.
Ballistics hasn't had time to compare the gun he dropped with the murder's slugs.
Of course not.
This guy does prove to be the Lover's Lane murderer. I will have had a bum hunch.
What do you mean?
I've had an idea the killer was a woman.
I've played around with the notion that a woman was behind these things myself.
Yeah?
A dame whose love life hadn't been so good and who resented other people finding romance under the moonlight in parked cars.
Well, what about the little card with I'm Death printed on it, the one the killer always leaves?
And those cards could have been left by either a man or a woman, Miss Williams. Our handwriting experts say they show no definite sex characteristics.
I know, Logan, but... Well, as I say, my hunch wasn't very strong.
Captain!
It's a gunshot.
Hey, they must have found him.
Now, it came from in there. Yeah, I'm going...
Yeah, so am I. You stay here, Eddie.
Oh, no, I will not.
Kid, look, for the shooting going on, no woman should...
I don't call one-shot shooting. I'm going with you.
What's happened?
Captain Logan, come here.
I'm coming, Dano, but...
There's our man, Captain. The same guy who pulled the gun on Mrs. Ryan and me.
Good job, Dano. You got him this time.
Yes, and for keeps.
Huh? Oh, I didn't shoot him, Captain.
You didn't?
No, I heard a shot and came here in the woods in this direction and found the guy lying here.
Well, who did shoot him if you didn't? Our other cops are too far away. They're just getting here now.
Well, I don't know.
Hey, Logan, there's a clean hole in this dead guy's head, and it wasn't made by a police .38.
Yeah, it looks more like a 32.
Captain, beside the body.
I see. Casey.
A printed card.
I'm dead.
The sign of the Lover's Lane murderer.
Then he just killed this guy.
And this guy wasn't the Lover's Lane murderer.
Our story will continue in just a moment. Extra, extra, read all about it.
Great new discovery makes beer and ale easy to enjoy.
It's a new kind of bottle.
A different kind of bottle.
It requires no deposit.
No fussing with pennies.
You don't have to return it.
No bother with empty.
Just pour out the beer
and throw the bottle away.
It's light as a feather.
No arm-weary lugging.
It's sturdy and compact.
Saves space in the icebox.
It's easy to open.
And safe to drink from.
It belongs on the table.
It's at home on a picnic.
And, brother, what flavor?
That true brewery flavor.
Protected by glass.
As only glass can protect it.
Yes, the revolutionary new Anchor Glass one-way no-deposit bottle is sweeping America. For flavor that's brewery bright, demand beer in bottles. For safety and convenience, demand your favorite brand in the new Anchor Glass one-way no-deposit bottle. Product of Anchor Hawking. The most famous name in glass.
Oh, Logan, why be sore at your cops? When they heard that shot, they naturally did the same thing as you and Ann and I did. They investigated.
And while all of them were making for this point where the shot came from, the killer who left that I'm death card was making his getaway.
Oh, I don't think he's gotten away, Captain. He's still trapped in the woods. You'll get him.
Or her. I've still got that little hunch about a woman being the killer. Now that the guy who tried to stick up Dano and Mrs. Ryan has been put in the clear by getting shot through the head, well, maybe I'm right.
Is that I'm death card like all the others you found, Captain?
Yeah, Miss Williams, they're all the same.
And I think ballistics will say that the .32 slug found in this guy's head came from the same gun that killed those 6 couples.
I'm betting the same way, Casey. And I have the same cockeyed theory you have about the reason for this latest killing. Now, Lover's Lane murderer, whether man or woman, must be a psychopathic case. And such people nurse terrific egos as well as terrific grudges.
And he'd have gotten a kick out of shooting this man practically under the noses of you cops.
Yeah, that's it, Miss Williams. And the shooting served a practical purpose, too. It drew most of the searchers to one point and enlarged the guy's chances for a getaway.
Captain Logan.
Yes, Sergeant?
We've just found out the killer may have gotten out of these woods.
What?
There's an old dry culvert passes under the road on the northeast, and it's grown all over with bushes, but looks as if our killer knew about it and used it.
That's just swell.
I've learned something else, Captain. Maybe good news.
That I'd like to hear.
There's a half-crazy old guy lives in a cave in the hills just north of here. One of them hermits. Hates people, and he knows every inch of these woods. They say he especially hates young people, Captain.
Huh?
Yeah, that sounds like a pretty good description of the Lover's Lane murderer, Captain.
You say he lives in a cave, Sergeant?
Yeah, the only name folks know the old guy by is Old Eve.
We'll pay Old Eve a visit right away.
Captain Logan. Captain Logan.
Who's calling?
It's me, Phil Dano.
Oh. Hey, who's that with you?
A little guy, a gentleman I met out near the northeast road. He's given me some very interesting information I think you ought to know about.
I'm Clarence Butterworth, Captain. Professor Clarence Butterworth. I have a little summer place near here where I relax while the college is closed. I teach psychology at Sylvester Normal.
Glad to know you, Professor.
Captain, if I may, like many other people of the neighborhood, I was naturally attracted by the large number of police cars and officers searching these woods tonight. And when I learned the reason for their activities, I introduced myself to this detective.
Tell the captain what you told me, Professor.
Yes, of course, Officer Dano. Captain, as one familiar with this section, I think I can suggest a suspect for your investigation.
I've just been hearing about the hermit Old Eve.
Yes. Old Eve, a pronounced misanthrope.
A what?
A hater of mankind. He would naturally fall under suspicion, but I don't think a creature of his limited mentality capable of successfully committing such a series of crimes. You see, Captain, I'm, if I may be permitted, I'm a student of crime.
Oh, you are?
Yes. As a professor of psychology, the subject of crime falls naturally into my orbit.
Okay, who's your suspect?
A woman.
A woman?
Yes, Mr.
Casey's the name. Tell us about this woman.
Of course, Mr. Casey. She's a person of considerable wealth, and in my opinion of strong psychopathic tendencies occasioned by an unhappy marriage. Her husband was, if this young lady will pardon me, something of a philanderer.
Oh, hubby played around with other dames.
Yes. According to neighborhood gossip, she surprised him in a parked car one evening with a young female person and attacked the two of them with a butcher knife. Fortunately, her husband was able to disarm her before he could do any great damage. He afterwards had her committed to a sanitarium for mental treatment, an institution from which she was released only 6 months ago, following his death.
6 months ago, Logan.
Yeah, this thing checks in a lot of ways, Casey. Now, who is this woman, Professor, and where does she live?
Her name is Mrs. Norma Julian, and she occupies a small estate about a half a mile northeast of these woods.
That culvert's on the northeast, Captain.
Sergeant, we're not overlooking any bets, so you take a detail and get that hermit, old Eve, for questioning. And, Professor, I'll have you take me and Officer Dano to Mrs. Norma Julian.
Also Miss Williams and me, Logan.
Mm-hmm. Definitely us, Captain.
Okay. Come on, Professor, let's go.
Very well. Oh, this will be a most interesting indeed to an amateur criminologist like myself. Dear me, now I have an opportunity to see how real professionals work.
I'm Norma Julian. What do you policemen want?
I've just been talking to your servants, Mrs. Julian. They say that you've been away from home most of the evening, that you returned only a few minutes before we arrived.
I'm frequently away from home. What about it?
Well, I'd like to know where you've been.
It's none of your business. But I've been out walking.
Alone?
Alone. I prefer my own company.
Did you meet anyone during your walk?
I tried to avoid meeting anybody.
Where'd your walk take you tonight?
North of here, in the hills.
You weren't south of here in the woods?
No, I was not. Why?
There are burrs in your skirt, Mrs. Julian, and those woods are full of burrs.
There are plenty of burrs in the hills. What's the purpose of this questioning? And how dare you policemen bring that young woman into my house?
Oh, me?
Yes, you. You're the sort of woman that stole my husband, the kind that makes people say I'm crazy. You're the kind that just...
Stop her, Dino.
She's going to hurt me with that vein.
She's under control, Annie.
I've got the handcuffs on her.
Oh, she's crazy, all right.
I'm satisfied she's the one we've been looking for. Take her to headquarters, man, and get the psychiatrist to give her a going over while I search this house for a .32 revolver.
Yes, sir. Come on, Mr. Julian. You're going to tell us.
Dear me. What a violent woman.
Professor, I'm very grateful to you for your tip.
Well, I'm happy to have been of service, Captain. We amateur criminologists can serve a purpose, can't we?
You served a double one tonight, Professor.
Thank you.
You made a little hunch of mine pay off.
Hunch, Mr. Casey?
Yes, I had a feeling that the Lover's Lane murderer was a woman.
Captain Logan.
Huh?
Captain Logan.
What are you doing here, Sergeant?
I've got the Lover's Lane murder, sir.
What?
That is, we know who he is. We got him surrounded.
What are you talking about?
Yes, what do you
Old
mean?
Eve, the hermit. I took a couple of men, went to arrest him like the captain instructed. When we got in front of his cave, he started shooting.
Started shooting?
It's already winged one of our men. I had to call in reinforcements before I came here to get your further instructions, sir. There's a regular battle going on at that cave.
But why is the old fool putting up a fight? He's not the murderer.
But he is, sir. When he started shooting at us, he yelled the words on them cards and kept on yelling them. He says over and over, I'm deaf, I'm deaf.
Listen, Captain.
I hear, Dano. Hey, that one came close.
Annie, keep down behind these rocks. That old guy shoots straight.
No, I'm keeping down, Casey.
Usually shooting so often now, Captain. Maybe he's running short ammunition.
I got to get up there with a tear gas bomb and smoke him out.
Don't look like there's any shelter between here and that cave. He'll kill anybody who tried to climb that exposed hill.
We'll go around the hill. Get at him from the rear.
But the cave has only one entrance. The opening's in front, and he's watching that. And
heads down, everyone.
Captain, I'm sure the cave has 2 openings.
You are, Professor?
Reasonably so. During one of my rambles about the neighborhood last summer, I discovered an opening covered by trees that apparently led downward to the rear of Old Leaf's cave.
Could you find it again?
I believe I can.
Sergeant, you and your men keep that maniac's attention. Start shooting and draw his return fire to exhaust his ammunition. Dano, you come with the professor and me.
Yes, sir. I'm going to be a part of that expedition, Logan.
And
Oh, no, Miss Williams. If Casey wants to take chances, that's his business, but I'll have no
You
women.
stay here, Annie, where it's safe.
Oh, safe, huh?
Well, safer.
Now lead the way, Professor, and keep under shelter. Let's go.
Very well.
See you later, Annie.
Oh, I hope so.
Nobody gets hold of me. You varmints, I'm dead.
How's that hunch of yours now, Casey, about a woman being the Lover's Lane murderer?
That hunch, Logan, just ain't around anymore.
Here's the opening, gentlemen.
This is the cave, Logan. Say, Logan, how are you going to work this thing? Drop in a tear gas bomb?
No. Well, this hole's wide enough to squeeze through, so I'm going down.
That old guy will put a rifle bullet right through you.
Well, he hasn't returned a shot to our guys for a long time now, Casey. He may be out of shells. Anyway, he's being kept so busy watching his front door.
It's a big chance, pal.
Now, Dano will follow and cover me.
So will I.
You haven't a gun.
So what?
So you're nuts.
Gentlemen, I think you're extremely foolhardy to venture in there.
It's got to be done, Professor. Here goes.
Dear me. This is exciting.
I'm down, Dano. Come on and be quiet. There's a bend in the cave, and that nut can't see us from where he is.
I'm with you, sir.
Me too. I also.
Professor.
I simply couldn't miss this, Captain. And I know you won't let me get hurt.
I'll keep quiet then and keep back. Come on, Dano.
All right. Hey, Captain.
Yeah?
Look, there's the old guy now, crouching behind that barricade.
His rifle's on the floor. He's out of ammunition.
Hey, Logan, he's got something else in his hands.
It's not a gun.
It's a bottle.
There he goes. Stick up your hands, Eve. We got you.
No, keep back, or I'll throw this bottle. It's full of nitroglycerine.
Nitroglycerin?
Oh, it's all the conjuration. I'm dead, I'm dead.
Don't throw that. He's throwing it.
Oh, it didn't explode.
It was just a bluff.
I got the thing, Logan.
Stick it in your pocket, Casey. Give it to me later.
Yeah, I'll do it.
No, you... I clipped this old maniac with my gun butt.
Sure did. He's out cold.
So is the professor.
The professor? What's the matter with him?
Yeah. Little guy fainted when he pitched that bottle. Yeah, I almost did myself.
Yeah, well, me both, Dano.
Well, maybe you guys think I took it easy. Oh, boy, he might have had the real McCoy in that bottle. But anyway, we've finally got the Lover's Lane murderer. I hope.
Here's another bottle of beer, Casey. You look as if you needed it.
Yeah, I do, Ethelbert.
This has been quite a night, Ethelbert.
I should imagine, Miss Williams, from what you've told me. Is that crazy old hermit the real Lover's Lane murderer?
We don't know. He's such a fruitcake, the cops don't get any sense out of him, even now that he's come to.
We didn't go back to headquarters with him because I had to write my story, and Casey had a lot of pictures to get ready for the engravers.
Yeah, I'll have to go to headquarters later and give Logan this bottle of nitroglycerin. Excitement, we both forgot about it.
Is that the bottle of stuff the old guy threatened you with?
Yeah. Looks like greasy dishwater or cold soup, doesn't it?
You're sure it ain't real nitroglycerin, huh?
Oh, if it was, pal, I wouldn't be here. When stuff like nitro gets thrown around, things blow up.
I've heard it don't stand for rough treatment.
That's right.
Logan will want that little bottle of dishwater for evidence, I suppose.
Oh, sure. Cops always want everything.
How about the woman, that Mrs. Julian, who was arrested first?
She's another nut. The police are holding her.
She may still turn out to be the killer, Annie.
Oh, Casey, you certainly hang on to a hunch.
I haven't a hunch about this thing anymore, or even an idea. You know, this has been a tough night.
Well, it's not over yet, Casey. We've another job to do.
You have?
Yeah.
City Desk wants a lot of personal dope on little Professor Butterworth. We're playing him up as the big hero of this evening's frolic, so we're going out in the sticks again and see him.
He snapped out of his faint okay, huh?
Sure. He was still kind of white around the gills when we saw him last. Oh, come on, Annie. Let's get over with and call it a day.
Okay. So long, Ethelbert.
So long. Hey, Casey.
Huh?
Take your bottle of nitroglycerin.
Oh, thanks for reminding me.
I wouldn't like it to explode sitting on my bar.
Sure you know how to find the professor's house, Casey?
Well, I have the address. Told me it's only a mile back of these woods.
This is a beautiful road in the moonlight.
Yeah.
No wonder so many couples have picked it as a lover's lane.
Don't see any neckers along here tonight.
Well, after what's happened, they've naturally been frightened away.
I wouldn't scare away that easy.
Wouldn't you?
No. I'd have had a real nice gal in the car with me.
Oh, is that so?
Yep. I'll prove it. Here's a good parking place.
Why, Mr. Casey.
Nice moon. Okay.
Uh-huh. Well, now what?
Well, suppose you tell me what you think of Philadelphia's chances against Pittsburgh for cellar position.
Suppose I tell you what I think of you as a romantic character.
Oh, no, you'd flatter me, Annie.
Mister, I'd blister you.
Annie, what do you mean? I only...
Oh.
Hey, wait, shh. Quiet.
What?
Someone in those woods.
Oh, yeah, I see.
Good evening, young people.
The professor.
Yeah, he's got a gun in his hand.
Are you enjoying the moonlight? The beautiful, romantic moonlight?
We were.
Casey. Miss Williams.
Yes, you didn't recognize us as soon as we did you, Professor.
No, I didn't.
That's an interesting gun you're pointing at us. It's a 32, isn't it?
Yes. A 32.
Then, you're
You're quite right, Miss Williams. I'm dead. Don't move, Mr. Casey.
Well, one up for you, Professor. Hey, tell me, why are you a killer? And the kind of killer you are?
Oh, Mr. Casey, I know you're only trying to gain time, my boy, while you strive desperately to think of a way of escape. But I can spare a little time, and it'll be interesting to observe your desperation.
That's why you kill? To observe?
Exactly, Miss Williams.
Oh.
I'm a student of human emotions, and the only way to know them is to have them. A man cannot understand the mind of a murderer until he himself has killed. And he cannot know the feeling of power until he has killed often. Until he has become as death itself.
Oh, you're mad.
Oh, no. Old Eve is mad. Mrs. Julian's mad because they hate. I hate nothing. I love nothing. I merely observe. I weigh. I'm a true scientist. See?
Yes, something I've just remembered.
And tell me, what is that, my boy?
That guys who don't hate anything or love anything can be very much afraid of things happening to themselves.
I don't understand.
Maybe this will remind you. It's the bottle of nitroglycerin I took from old Eve.
No, put that down.
I'll put it down at your feet if you fire that gun.
No.
Drop that gun.
Yes, I will.
He dropped the gun, Casey, and fainted.
He's out cold again. And I've got his gun.
Now, why did he fall for your bluff? He knew that bottle didn't explode before.
How do I know what makes a madman tick, Annie? I didn't think he'd fall for that nitroglycerin gag. It was all I could think of, though.
Hey, Casey, here comes a police car.
Yeah, we'll flag it down. Get this guy under handcuffs.
Hey, stopping, Casey.
Casey, I thought we'd never find you.
Hi, Logan.
Hey, what are you doing here?
For you, too?
Your city desk told us you'd gone to the professor's house, and we found nobody there.
Never mind about that, Sergeant. Say, here's the professor.
Never mind about that, Logan. Tell me...
Give me that bottle.
Bottle?
The one you took from old Eve.
Huh? Oh, sure. Here it is. Catch.
No! Hey, you take it, Sergeant, and wrap it up carefully.
Yeah, I'll say I will. Wrap it up carefully.
Yeah. Old Eve swears it's the real stuff, Casey. He told us how he made it.
The good Lord only knows why it didn't blow us all apart when he threw it. Must have just landed easy.
stuff?
Is, real...
Nitroglycerin?
Yeah, I recognize the soupy look of it now.
No.
Oh, Casey, I think I'm going to faint.
Annie, move over. I'll join you.
We'll join the crowd at the Blue Note in just a moment. How long has it been since you baked or even tasted a real homemade huckleberry or blueberry pie? Say, remember the symphony of color as your fork touches the tender golden brown crust and the rich deep purple juice spills out across your plate? My, oh, my. You know, good cooks, and my mother among them, tell me this is one of the hardest pies in the world to bake properly. But there's one way to be sure of results with any kind of pie. Use Fire King oven glass pie plates. Crusts are always golden brown and fluffy. Pies bake all the way through without danger of scorching. And, of course, that beautiful pale blue Fire King oven glass presents your pie at its best when you bring it to the table. Right now, you'll find at your 5 and 10 cent store or any other store selling household glass an unusual Fire King value. A big 9 1/2 inch Fire King pie plate for only 25 cents. Or slightly more in distant cities. It's genuine Fire King oven glass, guaranteed for a full 2 years against oven breakage. And remember, its cost is only 25 cents. This Fire King oven glass pie plate is another product of Anchor Hocking, the most famous name in glass.
So they got the professor in a nice solid cell, huh, Casey?
Yeah, he's out of circulation, Ethelbert.
Gee. And you got him with that phony bottle of explosive that was nothing but greasy soup.
Yeah.
We haven't told you about that bottle, pal.
The professor, having a good knowledge of chemistry, among other things, had recognized it from the first as real nitroglycerin.
Real What?
Yeah. There was enough in that bottle to blow up a city block.
And you had it sitting in front of me on this bar tonight.
That's just what we did.
Ethelbert!
Wait a minute, pal. Hold on. Hold on.
I'm trying to, Casey.
Casey!
Ethelbert! Hey, don't faint. Ethelbert. Anne, he's... Walter!
Crime Photographer, starring Stotts Cotsworth as Casey, is brought to you each Thursday by the Anchor Hocking Glass Corporation, makers of Fire King oven glass, Anchor glass containers, Anchor caps and closures, all products of Anchor Hocking, the most famous name in glass. Crime Photographer is directed by John Dietz. The original music is by Archie Blyer, and the program features Miss Jan Miner as Anne and John Gibson as Ethelbert. Herman Chittison is the Blue Note pianist. This is Tony Marvin saying goodnight for the Anchor Hocking Glass Corporation of Lancaster, Ohio, with offices in all principal cities of the United States and Canada. Thursday night on CBS is the biggest show in town. So stay tuned for exciting dramatizations on Reader's Digest Radio Edition, which follows immediately over most of these stations. This is CBS, the Columbia Broadcasting System.
This, I believe. There has always been, and probably always will be, a certain amount of corruption in government, people being what they are. But there are always fighting idealists, too. And Mrs. Genevieve B. Earle, first woman ever elected to New York City Council, is one of these. Here is her creed.
My early and unforgettable experience of city life occurred more than 50 years ago, when as a young country-bred girl, I rode with my mother on the 3rd Avenue Elevated in New York City. As the train clattered along that dreary thoroughfare, I gazed into the interiors of those dark, untidy, and crowded flats with a profound sense of shock. I asked my mother why people had to live that way. She explained that they were poor and could afford no better homes. I do not recall that I made any conscious pledge to find out why such things have to be, but many years later, when I studied the social sciences and economics, the remembrance of this preventable squalor returned with a renewed awareness. Still later, having undertaken private social and community work as a career, I began to realize that splendid and essential as these efforts may have been, I was trying to bail out an ocean of misery with a teacup. I became convinced that the city itself was our greatest social worker, because it was spending greater sums for related or similar work than all the private welfare agencies combined. I saw city government as a focal point of an ever-increasing program of service, a partnership which its citizens shared equally, designed to promote those things that are good and to combat those things that are evil. Archimedes explained the principle of fulcrum by saying, "Show me the place to stand, and I can move the world. To me, this place is city government. Touch that, and you touch the whole community." Thus, the weight of a finger at the right place can set in motion forces that can create a wholesome, decent environment for all people and mold our way of living a little nearer to our heart's desire. The fight for good government, while a winning one, is never permanently won. It must be waged afresh each day. To keep eternally at this job is an act of faith and courage. To those who are faint-hearted or faltering, may I end by quoting from the oath of the young men of Athens. "We will never bring disgrace to this our city by any act of dishonesty or cowardice. We will fight for our ideals and sacred things of the city, both alone and with many. We will revere and obey the city's laws, and do our best to incite a like respect in those above us who are prone to annul and set them at naught. We will strive unceasingly to quicken the public sense of civic duty. Thus, in all these ways, we will transmit this city, not only not less, but far greater and more beautiful than it was transmitted to us." The job of being an alert, active citizen is exciting, relatively easy, and wholly rewarding. My many years in civic work as a citizen and as a public official convinced me that if each one of us did his or her share and lived up to the spirit of this oath, that his town, his nation, and the world would be a happier and a better place to live in. This I believe.
That was Mrs. Genevieve B. Earle, Brooklyn's First Lady, who believes that life can always be improved if you really want to try.
Crime does not pay. It was easy, Julie. Easy as swiping an apple from a fruit stand. Now I'm in with the big shots.
And they pay you enough so you can buy me a ring like this?
What they pay me don't count. What I pick up on the side. That is something else again.
Pick up? But that's muslin inrex. They'll kill you.
What they don't know won't hurt me.
They'll find out. They always know. Men like that.
They will make more money than ever before. When that happens, they never ask questions. Men like that.
I know about the brothers. They like to hear people scream.
I know about them, too. They'll never hear me scream. Now stop worrying, darling. If there's any screaming to do, let the brothers do it. When the time comes, I will see to that.
In the interests of good citizenship and law enforcement, we present Crime Does Not Pay, based on the famous Metro-Goldwyn-Mayer series of short subjects. In just a moment, you will hear The Recruit, starring Charles Corbett. Now, Crime Does Not Pay, starring Charles Corbin as Rex Barrett in The Recruit. The vast majority of our American cities began as villages. As they grew and spread, each succeeding generation of builders left its mark in styles of architecture in the direction of the expanding built-up areas. Behind each mark, deterioration set in. The old houses began to sag. Dirt accumulated. The people who lived in the old houses remained there, mostly because they could not afford to go anywhere else. Thus, the slums came to American cities, and with them, the people of the slums. Occasionally, the younger generation managed to get away. Mostly, they stayed. And the stronger among them began to exploit the weak. This was the pattern into which Rex Barrett was born. This was the pattern within which Marty and Richie Amboy, the brothers, operated and grew wealthy. Typical of their operations was the visit Richie and his henchman Hatchet paid to Pop Sanders' candy store.
We're here, Pop.
Yeah, we're here.
Payday, Pop.
I told your brother I got nothing to pay.
You got a cash register. Pay.
When I pay you, I got to raise the sodas, the cones. I lose customers.
Cut it, Pop. Every other store around here pays. They had to raise their prices, so you get their customers. Now you pay.
I don't do it.
All right, Hatchet. The counter. With pleasure.
No, you don't do it.
Shut up. Already fixing that counter is going to cost more than we charge in a month for protection against accidents. Now pay.
I don't do it. I'll call the police. You hear? I'll call the cops.
All right, Hatchet. Let me hear him scream. With pleasure.
No, give me...
Good work, Hatchet, good work. Now you got a busted arm, Pop, and a doctor bill to get it fixed. Next time, the other arm and maybe a leg or two. We'll be back. You'll pay. Let's go, Hatchet. Back to the office, Hatchet. Check.
Mind if I come along, Mr. Amboy?
We got company in the back seat, Hatchet.
You want I should stop, boss?
No. If he talks fast enough, my heater won't go off. He's covered. Keep driving. You hear a backfire, just drive out to the dumping ground instead of the office. All right, now start spieling, you.
I'm Rex Barrett.
So what? Never heard of you.
I want to work for you and your brother.
Just like that. You want to work for me and Marty. Why?
I want to make dough. There's nothing in a legit job, not enough for me.
All right, keep talking.
I know about you and your brother. I see you going to the candy store. Leave the car. When you busted the old geezer's flipper, I hopped in the back seat. Look, Mr. Amboy, I want to learn the business. You and your brother are the best guys to learn from I know of. I'm strong and I keep my mouth shut. Let me work for you, will you?
You hear him, Hatchet? He thinks me and Marty is good teachers. Well, what do you know?
A wise guy.
Or a smart guy. Okay, Barrett. I'll take you to Marty. And if he okays you, you're in.
Oh, Rex. It's gorgeous.
Yeah, I kind of like the way it sparkles in the light myself.
Oh, me with a diamond ring. Oh, thanks, Rex. Thanks.
There's going to be more from where that came from, baby. If you're nice to me.
If I'm nice to you.
Huh?
Oh, Rex. How's that? sample. This isn't bad either. How'd you get it, darling? How? Where?
I'm working for the Amboys.
The Amboys? Well, how, Rex? How'd you get with them?
It was easy, Julie. Easy as swiping an apple from a fruit stand. Now I'm in with the big shots.
And they pay you enough so you can buy me a ring like this?
What they pay me don't count. What I pick up on the side, that is something else again.
Pick up? That's muscling in, Rex. They'll kill you.
What they don't know won't hurt
They'll
me.
find out. They always know. Men like that.
They'll make more money than ever before. When that happens, they never ask questions. Men like that.
I know about the brothers. They like to hear people scream.
I know about them, too. They'll never hear me scream. Now stop worrying, darling. If there's any screaming to do, let the brothers do it. When the time comes, I will see to that.
Come on in, Barrett. Marty and I want to see you a minute.
Something wrong, boss?
Marty's got something to say to you.
How do you do it, Barrett?
How do I do what, Mr. Amboy?
You've doubled the take in a district we've always had trouble with.
Anything wrong with that?
Not yet. But there could be.
What Marty means, Barrett, is that you push people too far.
Yell copper. Not in my territory. You took me on. I want to make good. I have. Haven't I?
Too good, maybe. Ease off. Now get out.
But I don't see
You
how...
heard my brother, huh? Beat it now. And ease off. Understand?
Sure.
How'd you make out, Rex?
Okay for now. Who's this?
Well, this is Luck Baylor.
So what?
It's like this, Barrett. I've worked with Hatchet here a long time. He tells me you're doing good, so I figure maybe you need another man.
How do I know you're the man? If I need one.
Tell him, Hatchet.
Well, Lug's the best man with an ice pick in the business.
I see. Why are you bringing him to me and not in there?
I've been in the business a long time, Rex. I know who's coming up and who's going down. That's how I stay alive.
I take that as the estimate of an expert. Okay, Lug. You're on. As for you, Hatchet, don't ever count on me going down. Now let's get out of this crummy joint. Okay, Bookie, pay.
I paid off once this week. I don't get enough to stand it twice. And I got hit by a 10-to-1 shot today.
Same story as last week. All right, Hatchet.
No, not the rope. I twisted that. Twisted.
How is this? Let him go. Now pay off to me. If you breathe through the Amboys, you'll get it all the way, understand?
I expected more interest this week than I got, Rex. Honest, I did.
Shut up,
Honest.
Penny Squeeze.
Listen,
You got your interest. You
Yeah,
gave
but-
the Amboys that cut. I know. Now you paid me.
they'd kill me and they'll get you. You can't cut it on them. You're crazy, Rex.
Me, I don't think so. I'll make up my own mind. About you, my mind is made up. Lug, go ahead.
No. I want to live. I want to live.
No trouble at all when you know where to give him the pick.
Rex, Bookie squealed.
What? All right. Take care of it.
Hey, ain't you coming along?
I'm waiting for Julie. She was due here 10 minutes ago. Something's wrong.
Oh, Dames is late.
Not Julie. She knows I don't like it. I'm waiting. You and Luck take care of the bookie. I'm waiting for Julie.
Let me go. I'm late now. Rex will figure this and come after me. Let me go, and I'll never tell him he snatched me. Let me go. I never did anything. I never took anything from you. Let me go.
She's got a pretty face, huh, Richie?
Yeah.
Don't kill me. Don't kill me. It's not me. I didn't do anything. Untie me. Let me go.
Ah, shut up. I'm sick of you.
You heard my brother. Shut up.
You're going back to your Rex.
Would that be nice, huh?
And when you see him, you tell him we said he ain't too long for this world. Unless he gets out of town in 2 hours.
Then you let me go, huh?
Of course we're letting you go.
How could we send a message to Rex? In fact, we're taking you back to him.
In our big black car with the bulletproof windows. And when you see him,
If you can see,
you talk to him.
when you're able to talk again.
She screams good, don't she, Richie? Tell him we know he chiseled on the tank. That Hatcher and the Lug are working for him. That he killed Penny Sweeper. That he tried murder. That he's finished. That he's done in this town. Done once and for all. Finished.
Slightly damaged, I'm sorry. When it can talk, you get a message.
Julie. Elfington, Julie.
Hatchet, Love.
You won't die. You'll be like new. Like new.
What's going on?
What's it? What happened? One of them was in the car. They dumped her like a sack, like this. Pick her up. Take her inside. Get the doctor. Somebody we can trust.
Rex, we got to get out of town.
We stay here. We stay. And they go. The amboys go. They go screaming.
In just a moment, Crime Does Not Pay will continue with The Recruit. Now we continue with Crime Does Not Pay, starring Charles Corbin as Rex Barrett in The Recruit. They mended Julie. They found the doctor whom they could trust, and Julie was put together again. Her body healed, but Julie inside was different. She thought of vengeance as Rex did now, as something to be hoped for, planned for, waited for. And she was with Rex and Hatchet the night Lug burst in on them in the cheap furnished room, which was their hiding place.
Hey, I got something. I heard something. You coming like that, you take an awful chance.
Yeah. Look at Hatchet. Sash cord waiting.
I'm sorry, but I heard something.
You said that already.
The brothers are in the game back at Louis' garage. Lug, who told you? Remember that little hop-headed newsie likes Julie?
He's only a kid.
Yeah, he's older than you, Julie. Only looks like a kid. He's seen him go in there. So he hightails it over to Domino's bar where he knows I'm hoisting a couple, and he tells me if we want to get even for Julie, we got a chance tonight.
If we want to get even.
Okay. Hatchet, get the car. Lug, check the magazines for the chopper. Julie, what you putting on that coat for?
I'm going along.
You're staying here. Don't worry, baby. You get their scalps for souvenirs. Tonight.
How long we been sitting here, Rex?
Only an hour.
How much traffic tonight?
There never is around here. Why?
Headlights in the rearview mirror.
Yeah, so what? Some dumb driver lost his way.
Keep your eyes peeled. You never know. Hatchet and me will watch the garage.
You figure maybe they used the back way out?
There isn't any.
Them brothers sure must be sitting on top of the world, going in a place with no back door.
And that car's coming awful fast.
What's he slowing down for?
Hey! You were told to get out of town!
The trap! The newsie!
Look at!
Drive, Hatchet. Look. I can't see. Blood. They creased me. What's with Hatchet?
Yeah, they cut his throat with slugs. You hurt, Rex?
Not bad. Only messy. Get over there. Yeah. Front seat. Drive. Fast. Gotta get out of here. Before the cops.
There you are, darling. This patch gets smaller every time we change the dressing.
It's time now. Time we made a plan. Now we still got the car. We can get out of town any night. You want to go, go. But not with me. And I keep the car. Ain't you had enough yet? Now there are 3 bills to pay. Julie, Hatchet, and myself.
Promise me something, Rex.
Ask you, Julie.
This time I go along.
No. Too dangerous.
I got a right to go. They hurt me more than anybody.
She's got something there, Rex. I don't...
You need a driver. With Hatchet gone, somebody's got to drive. You and Lug both will have to handle the guns.
That makes sense.
Rex, you're not going without me this time. If I got to hide in the trunk of the car...
All right. All right, you can go. Might be right at that. The poetic touch. Julie, you will do exactly as I say.
I will. I promise.
All right. Tonight, then. Want me to check the chopper, boss? No. What then? Just handguns. And a gallon can. What you gonna do, Rex? I will have a use for gasoline. First, we fill the can. Then we get the car and drive over to 35 South Park Drive. Hey, that's where the Amboys live. Yes. So it is, isn't it, Luck? And, oh, yes, Julie, be sure to bring along some matches, understand? A pack of matches. Most necessary. I don't like this, Rex. I don't like it. You don't have to like it. Just do it. The hall outside their apartment and Julie down there alone in the car. In the service entrance, she's safe. You think I'd take chances on Julie? But supposing they come home with a bunch. Then we wait until the bunch leave and we go in and get them out. Every detail is worked out, from the car you stole and parked in the proper place to the matches in Julie's bag. I still don't like it, I tell you. Shut up, they come. Oh, brother, this is it. You will keep your hands exactly at your side. Don't try anything.
Well, the boy wonders. Our recruit who was so smart he got his girlfriend all...
Shut up. Walk straight ahead. Now, or I'll kill you at once.
Sounds as if he meant it.
Walk. To the back of the hall.
You won't get away with this.
If you think that, why are you walking?
With a heater in my back, I walk. As long as you're alive, there's a chance.
Stop here.
Service elevator. Got a car on a service drive?
What else? Push the button, Lug. The car will still be here where we left it. Modern buildings. Even the back elevators are automatic at 3 in the morning. Get in, quickly. Get in. Julie is waiting.
They talked more when I saw them last.
Want to hear them talk, Julie? Say something, Marty.
What for?
I said so.
Not me. Me neither.
Look, how would you like to open their mouths with the barrel of your gun?
That might be kind of permanent, boss.
Yeah, I suppose you're right. They might bore us. Well, it can wait.
Not much farther, Rex.
I know.
There's nothing out this way, just a few subdivisions.
I know. Where should I take you? Main Street?
Look, Barrett, you could make yourself some dough.
With you out of the way, I'll have the whole town to pick from.
With us out of the way, you'll be a prime target, Barrett. Our boys will find you.
Your boys will work for me. After you've gone up in a blaze of glory.
I don't get it. We'll split the town with you, Barrett. 50-50.
Until you put a slug in my back. I have you now. I don't let you go. You hear that? You're done. Through.
Then why all the rigmarole? Shoot and get it over with.
Shoot? Do you think you get off as easy as that? Do you think after Julie I'll let you off as easy as that? Drive faster, Julie, before I lose my patience and start on them now. Now we are here. Lug, open the door. Go to the other car. Open that door.
Okay.
Now, Julie, you know where we left the can?
Yeah, Rex.
Get it. Stand close to the other car with it.
All right, Rex.
I don't get this.
Yes, another smart idea. Better. A hot idea. Now get out. Lug, they're coming. If you try to run, shoot them in the knees.
You bet, boys.
Get out, I said.
Okay, we'll get now.
All right. The other car. Get in. One in front, one in back.
I won't do it. I'm not going to do it, I tell you.
You're alive. There's a chance, you said. You are wrong. Get in.
You can have the town barrack. We'll get out.
Into that car. Look, shut the door. Jam the lock, like we did on the other doors.
Right. That won't open inside or out.
He's half nuts, Marty. Jams the locks and leaves the front window open.
You will see how crazy. Once I promised Julie she would hear you scream. Julie, the can. Pour the gasoline.
I can't.
Give it to me. So, front seat. Show some in their faces. Lug, back to our car. Cover them from there.
On my way.
Now, Julie, your matches.
That's right. Wait a minute.
Julie, listen.
You can have anything.
Now they bag, and we do not listen. Julie, your matches.
We'll give you some money.
I have them, Rex.
Light
Have
one.
everything.
Go on, light one.
We'll give you dough. Any amount of dough you
Now
want.
throw it, quickly. Throw it and run to our car.
Hurry, the car's coming.
Throw it, Julie. You will hear them scream.
All right, Rex.
Yeah, now you know. Now you know how it feels. You make others. Now it's your turn.
Rex, stop with your gun. Let's get going.
Rex, come on. I can't stand this. Go on.
Beat Julie. Kill Hanson. Shoot me. Now you know. Now you know.
What goes on here? Stand still.
They own the world. They're taking the highest like rats.
Don't move, any of you. You two in the car. Stay where you are. Your pals done.
All right, Davis, get on the radio. Homicide in the meat wagon. And tell headquarters for once somebody way out here looked out of a window at the right time and called in. His body's in that fire, a dead hoodlum on the road, and 2 ambulance cases and what's left of that guy. You want to bet we get promotions out of this, Davis? You want to bet?
Crime does not pay. Charles Corbin, who has starred as Rex Barrett in The Recruit, will be back with you in just a moment. Now, here in person is Charles Corbin.
Rex Barrett was the perfect recruit for men like Marty and Richie Amble. Rex came from the concrete and brick jungle where kill or be killed is the basic law, just as it is the law in any kind of jungle. But the fact that they fought each other as beasts fight and eventually destroyed each other is not the major point. The fact remains that once society eliminates the kind of living conditions which spawn such men, society will cease to pay them tribute. Society will gain and not lose useful citizens. Society will be ready to move from concentration on punishment of crime to the final elimination of crime. It becomes quite apparent from this point of view that for everyone concerned,
decent citizens as well as criminals, crime does not pay.
Thank you, Mr. Corbin. Crime Does Not Pay is written by Ira Marion and directed by Mark B. Loeb, with music composed and conducted by John Geist. Technical advisor is Burton B. Turtis. The events, characters, and names used in the story you've just heard are fictitious. Any similarity is purely coincidental. This is Bob Williams speaking.
This, I believe. George Antheil is one of America's leading composers. He says he cannot remember any time in his life when he did not want to be a musician. He has written operas, symphonies, and many other works, including the modern classic Ballet Mécanique, which caused riots in Paris and New York during the 1920s. Because of his nonconformity, he has been called the bad boy of music. Here is the personal philosophy of George Antheil.
First of all, I believe in God. I believe in God mostly because I have come around to believing in Him all by myself. Nobody helped me. I am one of those who would resist help, especially in things concerning the spiritual. I came to believe in God because, over the many years, He time and time again made Himself manifest to me. To embrace the career of composer is tantamount to embracing a life of high adventure. One is constantly on the firing line, estimated, appreciated, often criticized harshly by one and all. There may be no atheists in foxholes, but there are none in the green room either, especially before the premiere of a difficult and intricate, and I hope always courageous musical work. Also, one cannot long work in the composition of music without coming to realize that one doesn't do it all by oneself. Something else is in operation, some great life force, something beyond description, except in as strong and subtle music as one can find and write. I do not know what it is, but as God has often been kinder to me than I deserve, I like to think that all this has something to do with Him. Secondly, I believe in music. When I am true to it, music is my friend. It consoles me in my hours of consternation and gives me added flight in my hours of luck. Music is mostly faith, but after that it is something that makes life, always beautiful, doubly worth living. I love music, and sometimes I even feel that it loves me back a little. But amongst those things I believe in most is laughter. This is a sad world. In my own short lifetime, almost everything one can imagine has happened to me personally. Sad things, tragic things, things which I have more often than not faced like a coward. Once, indeed, I almost lost my dear music. But even in my darkest moments, abandoned seemingly by all, I found that I was always saved if I could laugh. Laughter breaks evil spells, changes luck. Laughter is on the side of God. Mozart tonight sleeps in an unmarked pauper's grave. Hard was his life, and a veritable financial catastrophe. Yet this divinely perfect of all musicians knew how to laugh. Read his letters. His music laughed too, though it is always deeply moving, passionate, elevated. It also does what many of his contemporaries, now fallen by the wayside, could not do. It laughs. Listen to it. I was once asked what I would most deeply wish for my young son, could I bestow but one quality upon him. Without hesitation I wrote back, a sense of humor. I could have said passion, for a passionate man is a living man. But passion, too, has its dangerous extremes. It too often brings great sorrow instead of happiness. I could have said happiness, but how could he know that he was happy if he was never to know sorrow? So I ask for the one quality which, added to any other which he may then develop, would make it possible to live with, to expand, to enjoy. God has been kind to me. Peter is now 17, has a marvelous sense of humor, and the house rings with laughter when he is home from high school.
Those were the beliefs of George Antile, composer of Hollywood, California.
Calling all detectives. Most magic is of the parlor trick variety, but I once had a case that involved magic that was strictly fatal. That is the situation on this page from my casebook, the casebook of Jerry Browning, private detective. Take the word of Jerry Browning, private detective. When you play with death, you'll never win the game. I was on my way to Louie's Hamburger Heaven in answer to a panicky call about something Louie said he couldn't discuss over the phone. Louie's one of my friends, a burglar turned restaurant owner, and doing well at it. From the outside, Hamburger Heaven looked normal. But when I got inside, I saw no customers, only Louie and 3 men huddled together at a corner table. Louie got up as I entered.
Boys, the waste is over. Here comes the world's greatest detective, my pal, Jerry Browning.
I felt I should take a bow. Instead, I shook hands all around.
Jerry, I want you to meet some of the boys. This here's Whinin' Willie, Tommy the Tout, and Problems Cassidy.
Glad to meet you, gents. But what's this all about? Whining Willie looked ready to cry.
It's awful, terrible. Shouldn't happen even to a cop.
Tommy the Tout got confidential.
I got an angle, see? I figured the odds is wrong, see?
Problems Cassidy held up his hand.
We gotta face the issue. Okay, so Louie works magic. The problem is, do we put him in a circus or in jail?
Louie put his head in his hands.
Jerry, I'm confused.
I sat down. You're confused. I'm Browning. What's this all about?
Leave me explain the facts, Jerry. There's a guy been hanging around. On the cuff Langley, we call him, on account of what he pays for is nothing. It's always on a cuff. So tonight he comes in, tries to touch me for a double sawbuck, and I says to him like this, "Drop dead," I says. So he drops dead, right in front of me. Deader than a mackerel. Jerry, I'm magic. I can kill people, and I don't like it.
My friend Louie told a customer to drop dead, and the customer obliged, on the spot. Louie walked restlessly up and down.
You understand, Jerry, a guy like me, he tells customers maybe 10 times a day they should drop dead. Half the time he don't even mean it. But when it gets around that I got this power, what'll happen?
Problems Cassidy answered for him.
I'll tell you what'll happen. People will buy hamburgers someplace else instead of coming in here to drop dead.
Tommy the Tout had an angle.
We could maybe wake up a deal where people who didn't like other people could bring him in here so Louie could knock him off almost legally.
Louie shook his head.
Positively not. I ain't cluttering up the joint with bodies.
That gave me a thought. Louie, what did you do with On the Cuff's body? Louie sighed.
I got a small break. There's a doctor been coming in here, Doc Reardon from down the block. He happened to come by and he took the body away.
Okay, I'll go up and see the doctor. You boys stick around until I get back. Doc Reardon's office was a shabby hole in the wall.
Yes, Mr. Browning, I examined the body. It was dead.
Yeah, so I heard. What did he die of? Reardon frowned from under shaggy eyebrows.
Shock, my dear sir. Shock and fright. Too bad.
What disposition have you made of the body?
It is reposing at Morton's Mortuary on Hickory Street. I have not yet filed the death certificate. Louis is one of my friends, and I hesitate.
Don't hesitate about a thing, Doc. You go right ahead and file a certificate. Put on it whatever you think is the real cause of death. Thaddeus Morton met me in the front parlor of his Hickory Street establishment.
You wish to see the body of Mr. Langley. May I ask, are you a friend?
Yeah, the guy who thinks he killed Langley. Morton's chilly manner thawed fast.
Ah, yes, you mean Louis. He's been most generous, offered to pay the complete funeral expenses.
Just how generous was he?
He ordered the deluxe cremation ceremony. Beautiful, beautiful. Cost $1,800.
I groaned. It was just like Louis to break himself burying some no-good bum. I wanted to go back and argue it with Louis, but first, I'd like to see the body, Mr. Morton, satisfy myself that it wasn't death by violence. Morton led me to a back room, showed me a slim, badly nourished figure, a man in his middle 60s. In death, he didn't look like the no-good chiseler Louis and his friends had described. There were no marks of violence on him. When I got back, I found Louis's friends trying to cheer him up.
You gotta look at the bright side, Louis. Why, a guy like you could be a secret weapon. And you don't even have to be loaded.
But Louis didn't see it that way.
All I know is I'll have to mortgage this joint to pay for that heel's funeral. If he was alive, he should drop that again. A young guy like that living off people, and now he's got to die the same way.
Louis spotted me.
Hey, what'd you find out, Jerry?
I found plenty. Come on, all of you. Let's go and make things lively at a funeral parlor. Mr. Thaddeus Morton didn't seem happy as we trooped in. Hello, Mr. Morton. I brought Louis and his friends to take a last look at Langley's body.
Why, the coffin is already sealed, awaiting cremation.
Yeah, then unseal it. For 1,800 smackers, you can nail it up twice.
Impossible. It's against the law.
I watched Tommy and Problems debate the subject with Mr. Morton for a while. Then, let go of his neck, Tommy. I think he wants to say something.
I'll open the coffin.
I knew what to expect as Morton pried up the coffin lid, but it came as a surprise to Louis and the others.
Why, this ain't on the cuff, Langley. Where is he?
Mr. Browning, if you will ask that gentleman to take the knife from my throat, I will tell you everything.
But Morton confided, sent us to Doc Reardon's place again. And there we found the Doc and on-the-cuff Langley sharing a friendly bottle of gin. Yeah, Langley was a voluntary catatonic, a man who could go into trances at will, fake the symptoms of death cleverly enough to fool a casual observer. Reardon, who was no doctor at all, worked with him and Morton. Langley put on his death act in little one-man stores like lunchrooms, groceries, clothing stores. Reardon showed up immediately thereafter, and the swindle was all set with the aid of Morton, the third partner. I suspected a racket right from the start when Reardon hinted he could be bought off on the death certificate. And I was sure of the racket when Louis mentioned that on the cuff was a young man, instead of being the old man I was shown at the funeral parlor. Well, all three got a nice long jail sentence. But Louis's friends were sad.
Louis, you lost out on a terrific career.
Tommy, you can go drop...
He paused as Tommy turned pale.
I mean, you can drop in at the joint for a free feed any time.
And that was the end of Louis's career as a stool pigeon for death. Like I said, death is a visitor who always comes around sooner or later. So why invite him, even in jest? Listen next time to Calling All Detectives. Mystery drama, mystery quiz, and a chance for you to match wits with yours truly, Jerry Browning, Private Detective.
Murder at midnight.
Mary, what are you doing with that knife?
Knife? This isn't a knife, Carl. It's a letter. Can't you see that it's a letter? You're just imagining things again.
Put it down.
Either that or you're trying to make me believe I'm imagining things. All I want to do is read it to you.
Keep away from me. Keep away.
But I'm telling you, all I want to do is show it to you. Show it to you like...
Midnight, the witching hour when the night is darkest, our fears the strongest, and our strength at its lowest ebb. Midnight, when the graves gape open and death strikes. How? You'll learn the answer in just a moment in Murder Out of Mind.
Murder at Midnight. Tales of mystery and terror by radio's masters of the macabre. Our story by Sigmund Miller is Murder Out of Mind.
12:00, midnight, in the home of Carl and Mary Watson. Carl is sleeping, but sleeping restlessly, uneasily. And suddenly... Mary, what are you doing?
What? Doing? What?
That knife, there in your hand.
A knife? I don't understand. What am I doing with a knife?
My guess would be that you were about to kill me.
Oh, no, I couldn't.
Wait till I put on the light.
Carl, your throat, it's bleeding.
It's a pretty sharp knife. The touch of it against my throat that woke me.
I couldn't have done it. I couldn't.
Then may I have it?
I'll get you some iodine and a bandage.
Never mind, it's only a scratch.
But it's bleeding.
It's all right. Why did you want to kill me?
I didn't want to kill you, Carl, darling. I don't know how the knife got in my hand. I was asleep. I don't remember getting it. I don't remember anything. You do believe me, don't you, Carl? You know I wouldn't hurt you for anything.
I do believe you, Mary, but...
Why should I do such a thing?
Possibly because you hate me and wish I was dead.
What? Oh, but I don't, Carl. I love you. I always have.
It's possible to hate someone and not even realize that you
No.
hate them subconsciously. You haven't been feeling too well lately, have you, darling?
Oh, only since George's accident, when he was killed.
That could be the reason, you know. Because I lent your brother the car, you could hate me for that.
No, that isn't so. It wasn't your fault.
Of course it wasn't my fault. Your brother was reckless and foolhardy.
Don't say that.
You see?
Carl, you think I'm going crazy?
No, but I think it might be a good idea for us to see a doctor.
A doctor?
A psychiatrist.
Oh, I don't need a doctor. It won't happen again. I swear it won't.
Can't tell, darling. It wasn't something you did deliberately. You might do it again still without knowing it. Next time you might succeed. I think we'd both feel safer if we did see a doctor.
And she tried to murder you in her sleep?
Yes, Doctor. And she was asleep, really asleep.
Well, has there been any other manifestation of erratic behavior?
Yes, lots of little things. She's abstracted, often hears things that aren't there, very forgetful. Well, the other day she forgot to make dinner for me. Of course, she was abject about it, but they all seem to point to an unconscious hostility toward me.
Well, let's call her in. Mrs. Watson, will you come in, please?
Good morning, Dr. Heller.
Good morning, Mrs. Watson.
Has my husband told you?
Yes, he did. Won't you sit down?
Yes, thank
you. Tell me, were you very much attached to your brother?
Well, you see, I raised him since he was a baby. Our mother died soon after George was born.
And there was a strong bond between the two of you then?
Yes. But I'm sure it had nothing to do with last night.
But I didn't say it did. I'm merely gathering all the facts in the case.
Facts? What are the facts? I tried to kill my husband.
Please, Mary.
I'm sorry. It's all so dreadful. Maybe I am crazy. I
don't think you are. But you may be in need of treatment, Mrs. Watson. Have you been sleeping well lately?
Yes.
Well, have you had any nightmares or terrifying dreams?
No, I don't dream at all.
Well, do you find yourself unusually upset when little things go wrong?
No, not generally.
Mary, put Dr. Heller's pen down.
Oh, I'm sorry.
You broke the point, jabbing it into the blotter that way.
I didn't mean to. I wasn't thinking.
Oh, that's all right.
I'm very sorry. It's just that, well, I've been nervous ever since my brother was killed.
That's understandable, Mrs. Watson. Can you come in to see me tomorrow? Your husband won't have to come with you.
Oh, Yes, Doctor, if you want me to.
You sure you don't want me to come with the Dr. Heller? I'm very much concerned.
I'd rather you didn't, Mr. Watson.
You know best.
This same time tomorrow, then.
Yes.
Goodbye, Mrs. Watson.
Goodbye, Dr. Heller.
Dr. Heller.
Yes?
What do you think?
But I can't say right now. This was just a superficial examination. She doesn't have any important outward symptoms or anything serious.
Well, what about her jabbing the pen into the blotter? Wasn't that significant? I mean, in a minor way, wasn't she trying to stab me again?
You're being an amateur psychiatrist, and that's dangerous. Goodbye, Mr. Watson.
Goodbye, Dr. Heller. I'll let you know if anything unusual happens.
Do you want another cup of coffee, Carl?
No, darling. Why don't you go to bed? I'll do the dishes.
No, I can do them. I feel fine. I'm not tired at all.
Put the knife down, Mary.
I was just going to cut some cake.
Oh. I guess I'm just a little jumpy.
You're afraid of me.
Oh, don't put it that way. It's just that, well, we should be careful.
Yes, Carl. I'll sleep in the living room tonight.
Well, perhaps that would be best. Then...
Someone's at the door.
Why do you say that?
Because the doorbell is ringing.
What are you talking about?
The bell, it's ringing.
Easy, Mary. There's no bell ringing.
But there is. I can hear it.
All right. Open the door and see for yourself.
There must be someone there. There must be. There's no one. The bell stopped.
As soon as you satisfy yourself that no one was at the door, the bell stopped. That is, your mind stopped ringing the imaginary bell.
I don't know what to do. What shall I do, Carl?
Well, Dr. Heller seemed to think he can help you.
He must help me. He must.
Mary!
What?
I didn't say anything.
Didn't you just call my name?
I didn't say anything.
Mary!
Someone's calling my name.
Stop it, Mary. You mustn't let yourself go. Your imagination is running away with you. I can't do anything. It's you who's got to stop it. You have to force it out of your mind.
I keep hearing it. It's driving me crazy. Do something, Carl. Do something, anything.
I'll call Dr. Heller. Dr. Heller, Carl Watson, can you come over right away?
Yes, she's bad. Very bad.
Well, what do you think, Doctor?
I gave her a sedative. She's resting quietly now.
What do you think we ought to do?
Well, I'll be in a better position to tell you tomorrow, when I examine her thoroughly.
I feel rather uncomfortable. She might try to kill me again.
But I can't recommend institutionalizing her. I'm not convinced yet it's necessary. And it might be very harmful to her.
But she might make the attempt again.
Just watch her closely. By tomorrow, I'll know what should be done.
All right. You're the doctor.
It's a very unusual case. As far as I can see, there's no real mental illness. But then again, as I've said before, my examination has only been superficial. I'll see her in the morning. Call me about noon, and I'll let you know.
Yes, Dr. Heller.
And just be on your toes for tonight.
Have a good night's rest, Mary?
Yes, dear. I slept very soundly after that stuff Dr. Heller gave me.
Oh, that's wonderful. What's that you got there?
Tomato juice. We're out of oranges.
You mean you fixed breakfast? Oh, you should.
I wanted to. Here, Carl.
Thanks, darling.
What's the matter?
What did you put in this juice?
What? Why, nothing. Just a dash of lemon.
Lemon? Maybe, but Something else, too. Iodine.
Iodine?
Why did you do it, Mary?
But I didn't. I swear I didn't. I just poured the juice out of the
Come on,
can.
let's look in the medicine chest.
But
Come on.
please, Carl, please, you've got to believe me. I didn't do it. I just poured the juice out of the can, and the can was fresh.
Here. Here's the iodine bottle. And it's just been used. See? It's on my fingers. And I haven't used it in weeks.
I cut myself this morning.
Where?
I don't know. I don't know. I just don't understand. I don't remember even coming in here. I must be crazy. I must be. Really crazy.
A pen stabbed into a blotter and poison for breakfast. Are these both repeat performances of that first attempt to commit
murder at midnight? And now, back to Murder at Midnight and Murder Out of Mind.
Irene, over here. Get in quickly. Anyone see you?
No. I waited back where it was dark. Well, what's happening with Mary?
Won't be long now, darling.
Carl, you've said that a dozen times before.
This time I mean it. She's really starting to go.
How do you know?
I just do. She's naturally high-strung and nervous, and I'm making the most of it. Another few days, and she'll be so bad that I can have her institutionalized and keep her there for life.
Life?
Not getting squeamish, are you?
No. Well, that's just a little too much for me.
Stop that. It's the only way. She'll never give me a divorce. You know that.
Oh, I know. This driving her mad. I'd almost rather you killed her.
What?
Well, at least that would be quick.
This will be quick, too, from here on in. You just leave everything to me. What happened to Dr. Heller's, Mary?
He asked me a lot of questions for over an hour.
What did he say?
He said I seemed to be all right. He wants to see me again tomorrow.
Did you tell him about the iodine?
Yes.
What did he say about that?
He tried to make me remember it. Well, I couldn't. I just couldn't remember doing anything like that, Carl.
I spoke to him a little while ago, called him after you left.
What did he tell you?
He thought perhaps you needed a rest.
But I am resting. I'm not doing much work.
You need a rest at a rest home.
What kind of home?
There are nice, quiet, private places where you'll be very comfortable. After all, you'll probably only have to be there for a short time.
No, I won't. I won't go to an institution.
Oh, you mustn't get yourself upset about it.
Dr. Heller didn't tell me that.
Naturally not.
I won't go.
Mary, something must be done about you. You're ill, seriously ill. Twice in 2 days you tried to kill me.
I know.
You hear things that aren't there. You've completely lost control of yourself. If you don't have the proper care, you may get worse. You may become stark, staring mad.
No, don't say that.
Look at you. You can't keep your eyes steady. They dart around like a bird.
I can. I keep them steady.
Look at me.
I am.
You're not looking. You've dropped your eyes. You can't look at me because you feel guilty. You hate me. You want to kill me.
No, I don't hate you at all, Carl. I love you. I really do. I'll be all right. I know I will.
You're getting worse. You keep forgetting things.
I don't forget.
What's today's date? You see, you can't remember the date. How many days in this month?
30 days has September, April, June, and November.
You see, your mind goes back to your childhood. That's what happens with people who are mentally ill. You can't even remember what month this is. What is the month?
I know if you'll only let me think.
You don't have to think to know what month this is. It's August. Your mind is closing up. You're losing contact with the world outside. Soon you won't even know whether it's winter or summer or whether it's day or night. You need treatment. You need hospital care right now. The thing is, will you take it now, or do you prefer to wait until you're hopelessly insane? Yes, darling.
How's everything going?
Very well.
When can you come to see me?
I can't, not until Mary is put away.
How's she getting on?
Fine. Another few days and it'll be all over. She's in constant hysterics now. One word from me and she breaks down completely.
What about the doctor?
He's puzzled.
You mean suspicious?
Oh, everything's going to be all right. Now, look, darling, I won't be able to call you anymore, but I'll write you every day. Remember, it won't be long now. Please don't wash the dishes, Mary.
I want to, Carl. I've got to do something.
Look, you can't even hold a dish in your hand. Watch out!
It slipped.
Yes, so it did. It slipped because your fingers are getting nerveless.
Carl, I'm fine when you aren't around.
Perhaps it's because you hate me. When you see me, your mind just closes up. You go completely to pieces.
What do you want me to do?
I've made some inquiries about the Chilton home. It's a very fine place and a lovely part of the state of you. You won't mind being there for a few months?
A few months?
Yes, it might take half a year.
I thought...
What did you think? Well, tell me what you thought.
I can't remember.
Yes, I know you can't remember. It's hard for you to remember. It gets harder and harder every day.
But I'm fine with Dr. Heller. I remember everything with him.
He's a psychiatrist. He knows how to help you. Well, there are dozens of psychiatrists at Chilton.
Dr. Heller never said anything about my going to a sanitarium.
I've had long discussions with Dr. Heller about you. Now, believe me, this is the best course.
If you really think that. If you want me to go, Carl. All right, I will.
Who's that?
It's me, Mary. Can I come in, Carl?
I'm just finishing a letter, dear, to Chilton. I'll be right out.
I just felt lonely. I didn't mean to interrupt you.
That's all right, Mary. I'll be back in a few minutes. I'm just going to mail this.
I'll mail it.
No, I don't want you to leave the house anymore. Not alone. It's not safe for you.
Is there?
Mailman.
Oh, just a moment, please.
Letter for you, Mrs. Watson.
Oh.
Return for lack of postage. No stamp on it.
Well, if you wait a minute, I'll get you 3 cents.
No, can't do that. You'll have to remail it.
Oh, I see. Thank you. Irene Craig. Who's Irene Craig? Irene Craig. Irene Craig. Dearest Irene, I've done it at last. Mary is committing herself voluntarily to an asylum. Once she's there, I'll be able to keep her there for as long as I want. Today I frightened her so that she forgot her own name. Just a few more days and she'll be a raving lunatic. Have patience, darling Irene, just a few days longer. Love, Carl. Love, Carl. She forgot her own name. My name is Mary. It's Mary, M-A-R-Y. I'm sure there's nothing wrong with me. I'm sane, completely sane. My name is Sane. S-A-N-E, Mary Sane. I tried to kill him, Carl said. That's what he said. I tried to kill him twice. He said I hated him. And all the time he hated me. He hated me. It's Irene he loves. Irene, whom I don't even know. Maybe she has a better memory than I have. Maybe she knows what today's date is. Maybe she knows what time it is. Maybe she doesn't forget her name. It's Irene. I won't forget her name either. It's Irene. I won't forget anything anymore. I'll remember everything. I must tell Carl and show him how much I can remember. I must bring him something to show how good my memory is. He'll appreciate this. Oh, yes, he will. Oh, yes, he will. He'll appreciate this. Carl? Oh, Carl, dear.
What is it, Mary? Who was that at the door? What are you doing with that knife?
Knife? This isn't a knife. It's of your imagination. It's really a letter to Irene that's in my hand.
That knife down, Mary.
But it isn't a knife, it's a letter. Can't you see it has your signature on it? Love, Carl, it says.
Letter? How do you know about the letter?
Came back without a stamp.
What? Just imagine it. There is no Irene. Now put that knife down.
You know it isn't a knife, Carl. You're just making believe. That gleam is only the gleam of my tears. But it is sharp. When I read it, it stabbed me.
Keep away from me, Mrs.
Dr. Heller said I was perfectly sane. He asked me a lot of questions about you. Yes, you. He thought there was something the matter with you more than with me. He caught on to you fast, he did. Remember what you told me, Carl. You told me that soon I wouldn't know whether it was winter or summer outside, but you made a mistake. It was you who won't know about the weather. You won't care. You'll be satisfied with just this letter close in your heart. I hate you. The way you hated me. Love, Carl. You see? I can look straight in your eye now. I can. But you can't look in mine anymore.
And so the pattern is played out, and the knife that Carl Watson first placed in his sleeping wife's hand ended up in his own heart. You see, we always try to give you poetic justice, along with
Murder at Midnight.
Remember to be with us again when death steals into a tortured mind and the clocks strike 12 for
Murder at Midnight. Our stars tonight were Charlotte Holland and Alan Hewitt. With music by Charles Paul, Murder at Midnight was directed by Anton M. Leader.
This I believe. Here are the views of a busy businessman who still has time and energy for hospitals and orphans and general welfare work. George B. Beitzel, president of the Pennsylvania Salt Company, chemical manufacturers.
The other day, a friend and I were discussing the general state of affairs. We both agreed that our generation cannot be very happy or proud about the world we will pass along to our successors. My friend asked me what I thought was wrong, and I answered something to the effect that in every walk of life we needed to return to Christian principles. He interrupted me. He said that was a perfectly respectable statement, but it didn't mean a thing unless I could explain it in terms of my own personal experience. He thought one of the main reasons people are so troubled and so cynical today about what we might call the spiritual values of life is that in church and in school and in business, everywhere, we do a lot of pious talking about things like brotherly love and teamwork and fair play, and let it go at that. We don't follow through in all the way that we live or behave or even think. We quote the Bible, we repeat the wisdom of some favorite philosopher with the guilty, foolish hope that in some magic way the words themselves will fix everything. I had to admit to my friend that he was right, and I began to wonder about what I believed in, and why I believed in it in terms of my own life. The answer that emerged was neither very unusual nor very profound. It is simply that I believe in God and in the application of the Golden Rule. Now, obviously, one reason for such an answer is that my parents taught me to believe these things, and I accepted them first because they said I should. But today, as a supposedly mature adult, my reason and my experience tell me that they are both fundamental and sound. I can say that I believe that only in the operation of Christian principles will the world really get together. But that is a hollow, pompous phrase, unless I reduce it to my own personal level and say I believe individuals have to learn to get along with each other first, because nations are made up of individuals, and one of them is myself. This is very important. It means that my own thoughts, my own behavior, are not inconsequential. They have an impact on the people I know, come in contact with. Then they react on others in a widening circle, like the ripples from a pebble thrown into a pool. Yet I must not get a distorted idea of my own importance. It has worried me that in this great rich country of ours, it is so easy for us to become smug and forget the attention to personal and spiritual values. With all the things we have, we get to feeling pretty secure, that nothing much matters but ourselves. Most of us, or more of us than ever before, have jobs and food on the shelves, money in the bank, and thus we say, so what? I think we need more humility. I think we need to be reminded that individually and collectively we are just mortals, that only as we live Christian lives do we really contribute to the welfare of the world. These are not new thoughts, but I think it is time for men to make some positive statements, not only to others but to themselves. I'm a businessman, not a minister. Perhaps I express myself in these matters rather clumsily, but I am sincere. I know that we can never have Christianity operating an effective force among nations unless it is first applied to the relationship of individuals. I believe that it is time for me to acknowledge, to inform myself, that God is the Lord, to rediscover my personal relationship with Him. That I must try my daily life to live and practice the Golden Rule.
That was George B. Beitzel, a Philadelphia chemical manufacturer who, his friends testify, gives service and not lip service to his beliefs and does not take his faith lightly.
New post-war Old Dutch cleanser, famous for chasing dirt, presents Nick Carter, famous for chasing crime. Every week at this time, two great names are joined, as new post-war Old Dutch cleanser brings you one of the most resourceful and daring characters in all detective fiction, Nick Carter, Master Detective.
Matty, I want you to get hold of a delivery truck and 2 suits of overalls.
Okay, Nick. Anything else?
Yeah. Get enough grease to turn us into a couple of overworked truckmen.
And then what?
Then we've got half an hour to make the wrong delivery to the right party and prevent a murder.
Now, now, The Case of the Bull and Bear. Today's adventure starring Lon Clark as Nick Carter. Brought to you by new post-war Old Dutch Cleanser. Jeff Howe and Dodie Murray think they're a lucky couple. Just when they thought they'd never get the money to get married, old Sidney Poor, who owns a candy store in their rundown neighborhood, is breaking them into a racket that's going to make them rich. He keeps telling them,
Now, you understand. You walk into the department store. Dodie's got two $100 bills in her purse.
Yeah, one's real money, and the other's counterfeit.
Yeah, we got that. Yes. You buy something. A watch, maybe. Something in the jewelry line.
Uh-huh.
Dodie takes out the real $100 bill to pay for it.
Yeah.
Then the clerk will have to have the bill checked by the floor manager.
Uh-huh.
Yeah, I know. All stores do that. It's a rule.
And you make a big fuss. Both of you. Like you're being insulted because they don't trust you. You get that?
Yeah.
Uh-huh.
But when the floor manager says the bill is okay, and for the clerk to go ahead and make the sale, you grab the bill back and you walk out like you're real mad.
Well, what do we do after that?
You wait about a half hour, then you go back. Make out like you're ashamed of yourself for losing your temper. Apologize. Say you'll buy the watch after all.
Uh-huh.
And this time, you pay for it with the counterfeit $100.
I get it. The clerk thinks it's the same bill the manager okayed.
That's right. He won't check it again. He'd be glad to make the sale. So you walk out with the watch or whatever you bought, and you bring it back here. And bring back the change, too.
Sure, it's a cinch.
Well?
Anything else now, Mr. Poor?
This is a kind of a test. If it works out okay, I'll take you on regular. I like to give nice young folks a helping hand.
Well, I don't know. They're all very nice, madam. May I suggest... how much is that bracelet? The one with the red bead, the ruby? Yeah, $290. Well, how about that one there? $98.
That's the one for you, honey.
Oh, okay. I'll take it. Very good, madam. May I have your charge number? Oh, I'll pay cash. I just happen to have $100 with me. Here. Thank you.
Well, what are you gawking at the bill for? We're not accustomed to having our honesty.
Mr. Roberts, you counter, please, and hurry. Yes.
There's the manager. I think he's a detective.
Stay right where you are.
Go on, Dodie, run. Quick, I'm going.
Mr. Roberts, stop right there.
Anybody tries to stop me gets a bullet in the head. You know what I mean?
All right, fellow, I'll take that gun.
Why, you
Come on, let me have it.
Let go of me.
That's more like it. Anybody hurt, Patsy?
Yes, Nick. The store detective was shot.
You hurt bad?
Yes. Yes, he was. He's dead.
All right, Nick, now see if I got this straight.
Go ahead, Benny.
Jeff Howe and the girl come into the store and try to buy a bracelet with a counterfeit $100 bill.
Right.
The clerk spots the phony and calls Roberts, the store detective.
Right.
Jeff Howe makes a break and Roberts chases him. The girl disappears and Howe kills Roberts.
Wrong.
What do you mean, wrong?
I mean, Howe didn't kill the detective.
But he was doing the shooting.
We know that, but he was shooting over his head to break up the crowd.
Just the same, Patsy, he could have shot one bullet over his shoulder and drilled Roberts. Roberts was only 6 or 7 feet behind him.
Yes, Matty, but Roberts was shot in the back.
In the back?
Yes, and he couldn't have been running backwards when he was chasing Howe.
Holy smoke. You're telling me someone else shot Roberts?
I am. But I have a hunch the killer was really shooting at Howe.
Oh, but look, Nick...
If I'm right, Matty, the shot that killed Roberts came from the door of the fire stairs. Come on, I'll show you.
But what makes you think the shot came from there?
I examined the wound, and I figured out the approximate angle the shot was fired from.
Did anyone notice the shot from this direction?
Not so far as I know.
There was too much excitement in shooting.
Incidentally, how did you and Nick happen to be here in the store?
Why, I was trying to buy a birthday present for a boy named Lucas. And Nick was very annoyed because I wouldn't tell him anything about Lucas. I was trying to make him jealous.
Oh, save it, Patsy. Here we are, Matty. Now, the killer could have stood about here, just inside the emergency exit door. The sound of the shot could have been swallowed up by the stairwell. The killer could have... Yes, by George, he did.
What?
Did what, Nick?
Look there in the corner, right next to that piece of paper.
What is it?
An ejected cartridge from a .45 automatic.
Well, how about that?
Nick, that's not a piece of paper. It's a bill. Money. It's a... Oh, shucks. No, it isn't either.
Yeah, let's see it.
It's make-believe money, toy money from some game. But it's a pretty good imitation in a rough sort of way.
Yeah, probably from the toy department. Well, Matty?
So Jeff Hal didn't kill Robert.
Right. Let's go to headquarters. I want to see if Hal can tell us who did kill him.
A crazy little dope. Scared she was. She pulled out the phony bill first.
Who was she, Jeff?
None of your business.
Oh, tough guy, huh?
Yeah.
Look, Jeff, I know that routine. I've heard it 100 times. I'm tough. I can take it. I don't squeal.
Yeah, you said it.
They all say it, but change their minds when they find out they're suckers. You're trying to be loyal, Jeff. Only trouble is no one's going to be loyal to you.
Says you.
Someone put you and the girl up to this racket, Jeff, and I want to know who it was.
Yeah?
Yeah. I've got to notify the Secret Service. I want to give them that information.
Too bad. You ain't gonna.
Still loyal, huh? It's rather foolish, Jeff.
Why?
Because someone has tried to double-cross you already.
Double-cross me?
Yes, double-cross you. They didn't trust you. You and the girl were followed when you went to the store and were watched very carefully. When you got on that jam, someone tried to shut you up. With a bullet.
What bullet? What are you talking about?
A .45 automatic slug. Meant for you.
What?
You didn't get that slug because the store detective got it. And he's dead.
Is that on the level, Mr. Carter? Someone tried to plug me?
I'm sure of it. Now, look, Jeff. Eventually, you're going to be handed over to the Secret Service. Counterfeit money's their case. They've got you cold on that count.
Yeah. But murder.
But murder comes first, and murder's my business. So if you want to escape a murder rap, you've got to help me.
Well, what do you want to know?
A lot of things. Who put you up to this racket? Who supplied the phony money and the real bill? Who would want to shut you up for keeps?
It's Sidney Poor. 1270 Grand Apple.
Mm-hmm.
But don't tell him I told you.
Now, don't worry, I won't. But I've got a few things I want him to tell me.
Me, Mr. Poor. He ran off and left me on my own. The dirty, double-crossing heel.
No, my dear.
If I hadn't had good luck, I'd have been caught. He didn't even try to help me. He just ran out of the
Susie,
place.
everything's going to be all right. You've got to... Someone just came into the shop.
Hello? Anyone minding the store?
Coming, sir. Coming. Just resting my feet in the back for a moment. Hard on an old man's feet, keeping shop. Yes, sir.
You, Mr. Poor? Sidney Poor?
Yes, sir. What can I do for you?
I'd like $1 worth of that candy.
Oh, yes, sir. Yes, sir.
It's cold in here. Don't you have any heat?
No, sir. Just the stove in the back. I haven't started it yet. Can't afford to with the price of coal so high up. Poor is a poor man. My favorite joke.
Oops, careful with that tray. Hey, what's the matter with your hands?
Oh, old age, sir. Just old age. Makes a man shake. Will that be all, sir?
Yeah, that's all.
Well, here you are, sir. And many thanks. Come again.
Thanks.
Any luck, Nick?
Yeah, here, I brought you some candy, Bessie.
Where's Poor?
Still in the store?
You didn't arrest him.
Nope.
Why not?
He isn't the man we want.
But Jeff said...
Poor may be the man who started Jeff in the racket, but he isn't the killer, and I have a hunch he isn't the big boss counterfeiter either.
But how do you know?
Because he's an old man. His hands shake constantly. He couldn't shoot a gun with any accuracy at all.
Oh, but how do you know he isn't the boss counterfeiter?
Look, Patsy, if Poor is operating from that store, where's his plant? You need machines, storage space, room for a press.
Maybe his plant's in the cellar.
There's no cellar. He heats the store with a stove in the back.
Oh.
No, I have a strong hunch Poor is just a middleman, the agent who passes counterfeit money from the plant down to kids like Jeff.
And if we want to find out who killed Roberts, we'll have to locate the plant and the man who runs it.
That's right. He's the one who'd have most reason to cover Jeff and try to kill him to keep him from talking.
Well, could we locate him through Poor?
All depends on how smart we play it and how far we can play Poor. But I've got an idea.
Yeah? What is it?
Listen to this and tell me what you think.
Crystal, open up!
Who is it?
It's me, Sidney Poor.
Oh. You and your crazy ideas. I'd have cut you up and feed you to the lions at the zoo.
Now, take it easy, Crystal.
Take it easy. I just killed a man. You know what they hand out for murder in this state?
But, Crystal,
It was a nice, smooth business until you started getting ideas. Let's break new people in, you said. Smart young kids, you said. Make it easy for us, you said.
But, Crystal,
you certainly made it easy, all right. Now, who's going to be the next bright boy I have to kill to make it easy?
That's what I came to tell you. Jeff isn't dead.
What?
You didn't hit him. You hit the store detective.
You're kidding.
I'm not kidding, Crystal. And the man who caught Jeff was around to my store just now, snooping, I guess. Don't you recognize him?
Who is he?
I don't know. He's a tall fella, about 6'1", weighs maybe 190, dark brown hair, blue eyes that kind of look through you. About 35, I'd say. Nice-looking fella. Looks like an athlete.
Did he have a soft hat pulled out in front?
Yeah, that's him.
Nick Carter.
Nick Carter?
Yes, you dope. I know he was in the store this morning. I saw him there.
Well, I guess we better pull out. You can't buck Carter.
I've got to. And I can. I'm smart, Sidney. And I'm already one step ahead of Carter.
I don't see it, Crystal.
He doesn't know I know he's looking for me. Maybe I'll let him find me. Yes, maybe I will.
But, Crystal,
You know, it's a funny thing, Sidney. The first murder's the hardest, and the rest come easy. And no matter how many times you kill, they can only send you to the chair once.
Crystal Davis, young, beautiful, and hard, stares icily at Sidney Poor as plans to outwit Nick Carter race through her head. We'll see what she decides to do in just a moment. Now, back to The Case of the Bull and Bear. Today's adventure with Nick Carter, brought to you by new post-war Old Dutch Cleanser. While Crystal Davis prepares for an all-out war to the finish, Nick is making plans of his own at police headquarters with Jeff Howe.
Did you go after Poor, Mr. Carter? Yeah, Jeff, I did. But Poor isn't the man I want. I want the man he's working for. And you're going to help me find him.
I am? How?
You're going to escape.
But how?
Patsy Bowen's going to help you. You and Patsy will head straight for Sidney Poor's candy store. She'll tell you our plan on the way.
Yes, sir.
And get this straight, Jeff. I went out on a limb to give you this chance. I had to do some hard talking to get Sergeant Matheson to agree.
Yes, Mr. Carter.
Now, this is your chance to come through. So don't let me down. And above all, don't let yourself down.
Shut the door, babe.
Okay.
What are you doing here, Jeff? What happened? Who's this girl?
I made a break, Mr. Poor. She helped.
You got away?
Yeah, but I wouldn't have if she didn't give me a hand.
That's right.
This here's Penny Blake. Good kid.
Hi.
But why did you come here, Jeff? I mean,
You don't think I'm quitting the racket, do you? No, sirree. Me and Penny's going to work together and act together. She's smart.
Yeah, sure.
I'd have pulled it off before if it wasn't for Dodie. Why, that crazy kid's the dumbest cluck I ever seen. You know what?
Yeah.
Dodie!
I heard every word you said, Jeff. Everything. So this is your new girl, huh? Want to make something out of it? She's just right for you, Jeff. A cheap little game for a cheap little young...
Why don't you shut up?
Shut up? Me? I'll show you. You... Hey.
Well, what are you staring at?
You.
What's the matter with me?
Mr. Poor. She's the girl that was with Nick Carter when he caught Jeff.
And stay with that phone, Scubby. Patsy's due to check in any minute. I'm going down to headquarters to fight with Matty.
Good afternoon, Mr. Carter. I've been waiting for you.
I beg your pardon. I thought this was my car.
It is. Please get in.
Well, thank you.
I'm Crystal Davis.
Charmed, Miss Davis.
Call me Crystal, please.
Delighted, Crystal.
Thank you. Nick. Are you a gambler?
Isn't everyone? One way or another?
I suppose so. My favorite game is open poker. I like to see everyone's cards. I like them to see mine.
You have some good cards to show, Crystal?
I think so. I killed a store detective, Nick.
What? You killed us?
I killed him with the same gun I've got in my purse now.
Is this a confession?
No. I'm just showing my cards. You've already shown yours. Patsy Bowen.
Oh?
I've got her, Nick.
I guessed that, more or less. What's your proposition, Crystal?
I want you to call off the war, Nick. Drop the case. Let me alone.
But someone's got to take the rap for the murder.
What's the matter with Jeff Howe?
Jeff?
Sure. Who cares about him? Pin it on Jeff, Nick. You can do it.
Except that he'll talk.
No, he won't. I'll arrange it so that you get him back, dead.
You will?
Nick, if you'll promise me to drop the case, you get Patsy Bowen back. Otherwise...
I see. Suppose I give you my word in 1 hour.
No, Nick. Now.
That's impossible. The whole homicide squad's working on this case. It'll take me an hour to pull them off. It'll take an hour to convince Matty I was wrong about Jeff.
You mean that?
I do.
All right, Nick. In 1 hour. It's a deal. I'll let the drill go in 1 hour. I have your word that you'll drop the case.
In 1 hour, yes. You have my word.
Nick, are you out of your mind? Why didn't you just pull Crystal in when you had her?
Use your head, Matty. She's holding Patsy a prisoner. If Crystal didn't get back to her hideout, Patsy'd be killed.
You're right there. Well, what do we do now?
After Crystal left me, I found this key on the floor of my car. She must have dropped it.
The key? Let me see it.
Here.
Hotel key from the old Kettle Inn. Nick, now we got something. Any idea where this old Kettle Inn is?
Yeah. It's North Barton, about 50 miles from here. I've been past it a couple of times.
Well, what are we waiting for? I'll get my car.
No, hold it, Matty, hold it. Do you think Crystal's fool enough to drop a hotel key accidentally in my car right where I could find it?
What? Oh, then you think it's a plan?
Of course I do. She hoped we do just what you started to do, dash up there to try to locate her.
Yeah, I see what you mean. It's a trap.
She wanted to gain time so she could clean up her business and get out of town. She wanted to let me know she was holding Patsy as a hostage.
Yeah, and maybe Patsy ain't safe even with that deal you made with Crystal.
Yeah, that's what I'm afraid of, Matty. No crook would ever trust anybody as much as Crystal says she trusts me, which means we've got to locate her hideout and fast.
Yeah, but where is she?
Well, let's use our heads. Suppose we were in the counterfeiting racket.
Yeah, sure.
What's our problem? First, we need a hideout, a place where we can run a printing press without drawing attention to ourselves.
Yeah, a printing plant would do the trick.
Yeah, but what do we do with print? What do we print? We've got to be in a position to buy paper and ink of high enough quality to use for counterfeiting money.
Oh, there you got me.
And our next problem, the distribution of the money. How do we send it out to men like Sidney Poor all over the country? How do we get it to the middlemen who hire the crooks who pass it? Maybe... Hey.
What's the matter?
The toy money.
What?
A crumbled bill of toy money Patsy picked up. It was lying next to the ejected cartridge shell in the store.
Well, what about that?
Don't you understand, Matty? It was a pretty fair imitation of real money. So real it fooled Patsy at a distance. That satisfies the conditions.
Holy smoke, Nick, you got it.
You have a plant that makes a game using toy money. Probably a very expensive game because the toy money looks so real. That's your excuse for buying high-quality paper and ink.
Yeah, but I never saw a game that used toy money that looked that good.
Now, I doubt whether many people have, Matty. And if I'm right, I don't believe the manufacturer cares if nobody buys it.
Nick, that's it. That's how you distribute the counterfeit money to middlemen. You send them a dozen boxes of the game with the counterfeit money hidden under the toy money. And no one would ever notice.
Right, Matty. Here, let me have that phone.
Yeah, sure, here.
Maybe when Crystal pulled the gun out of her purse, that toy money came out, too. Maybe she manufactures this game for a cover-up.
Yeah, could be.
Yeah. Hello? Croydon Department Store? Let me speak to the buyer in the toy department, please.
What are you doing now, Nick?
Just a minute. You find... Yeah, hello? Can you tell me whether you stock a game using toy money that looks very much like real money, except that the president's face on the bill is changed to a joker? Bull and Bear. I see. A Wall Street game, speculation in the toy exchange. Yeah. Now tell me, is that the only game using that kind of toy money? It is. Good. Can you tell me the manufacturer who supplies Bull and Bear? This is very urgent.
You got something, Nick?
I think so. Adult Games Company, 25 Archer Street. Thank you very much.
Adult Games Company. You think that's Crystal's outfit, Nick?
I hope so. What time is it?
Almost 5:30.
All right, let's go. I've got a little over half an hour to show Crystal how I play poker.
Nick and Matty rush from the room, wondering whether Nick's deduction is right, wondering whether they'll find Patsy and Crystal Davis at the home of Bull and Bear. We'll see what happens in just a moment. And now for the conclusion of The Case of the Bull and Bear. Today's adventure with Nick Carter, brought to you by new post-war Old Dutch Cleanser. In a dimly lit plant on Archer Street, The presses that turn out toy money for Bull and Bear games and counterfeit money for cheating Uncle Sam make an ominous background for the 5 people who sit and wait.
Sidney.
Yes, Crystal?
What time is it?
5 or 6.
All right. Got the flash, Mike.
Okay, Crystal.
All right, Miss Bowen. Time to get ready to leave. It goes for you and Dodie, Jeff.
Now, look, Crystal, we don't like this.
You don't like what?
I mean, the boys, we don't like to deal with Carter. How do we know he keeps his word?
Who cares if he keeps his word?
He always keeps his word. But I thought you trusted him.
The whole deal was a stall, honey. I wanted to get us time to finish up and get out of here.
I gotta hand it to you, Crystal.
Now that the last batch of phony dough is finished, we blow town.
Yeah, but what about the gun?
What do you think? They can only hang you once.
Yeah.
You're going to... Yes, honey. You and Jess and this dumb girlfriend of his. 3 bullets.
Oh, no. You can't do that. We had nothing to do with this.
Mike, get the car. And take them over to the river.
Okay.
The rest of you get that money packed and get ready to...
Hey, Crystal, open up.
Who's that?
I don't know. Come on, open up.
But nobody makes a break. I can shoot this gun fast and straight. Now stay put. Okay? Open the door, Sidney.
Come on, will you? Look, I got my truck here. 3 dozen bales from Consolidated.
Wait a minute. I didn't place any order with Consolidated.
All right, Crystal, drop that gun. Grab it.
Hey,
No tricks, Sidney. Watch yourself, Crystal. I'm warning you. All right, pick up that gun, Matty.
Okay, I got it, Nick.
Material evidence in Crystal's trial for murder. Well, look. 6 o'clock, Crystal. The hour's up, and I'm keeping my word. I'm dropping the case right now. Only I'm afraid it's too late to do you any good.
Well, it sure was a nice haul, Nick. Secret Service is going to be mighty happy with that printing plant, to say nothing of the list of Crystal's customers.
And you've solved your open and shut murder, Sergeant.
Yes, Matty, with the pistol that killed the store detective and the evidence that Jeff and Dodie are prepared to give, you've got Crystal right where you want her. Headed for the death house.
Yeah, I guess we're all lucky you and Patsy decided to go shopping this morning, Nick. All except Crystal.
And Patsy.
Why me?
Well, you never did buy that birthday present for your mysterious Lucas.
Nick, I bet you are jealous. Goody. Now, I can tell you, I got the present already.
Yeah, but how? You didn't have time.
I took one of those Bull and Bear games from Crystal's hideout. It'll be just right for Lucas. He's 10 years old.
What about the adventure that new post-war Old Dutch cleanser is going to bring us next week, Nick?
Mike, we're going to meet an old lady in a wheelchair who refuses to be murdered.
Well, I can understand why she might not approve of the idea.
Not only that, Mike, she objected so violently that she joined Nick's staff long enough to catch the killer.
Say, that's a new kind of detective. An old lady in a wheelchair.
And it's a story I think you'll enjoy, Mike, about a murderer who discovered too late that he was his own victim.
What do you call the adventure, Nick?
I call it The Case of the Wrong Mr. Right.
Nick Carter, Master Detective, is presented each week at this time by the Cudahy Packing Company. It is produced and directed by Jock McGregor and is copyrighted by Street & Smith Publications, Incorporated. Charlotte Patsy, Ed Latimer plays Matty. Today's script was written by Alfred Bester. Original music is played by Henry Silverne. This program is fictional, and any resemblance to actual persons, living or dead, is purely coincidental. Friends, in every community chest city, nearly half the families benefit from Red Feather Aid. This year, however, these services cost more. Hence, there must be more and greater contributions. What's more, the USO is back, and community chest gifts must also cover it. We urge you, therefore, to give generously to the community chest in your city. One contribution is a gift to all the services in your community. Remember, everybody benefits, everybody gives. This is Michael Fitzmaurice saying, when minutes count, use new post-war Old Dutch cleanser. This is the Mutual Broadcasting System.
This, I believe. George Sokolsky, bushy-haired, stocky King Features columnist, was born in Utica, New York. He grew up in New York's Lower East Side, but soon after college became a foreign correspondent in Russia during the first year of the Revolution, then in China, where he lived for 13 years. Today, George Sokolsky, the columnist, author, lecturer, industrial consultant, and commentator, makes his home in Manhattan and on his Kim Feng farm in Otis, Massachusetts. Here now his creed.
It so worked out that immediately after I was through with college, I left the United States. I went to Russia as a newspaperman. It was to be a short absence from the country, perhaps 6 months. I was away from this country nearly 14 years. I missed an entire period of American history: World War I, Prohibition, the Jazz Age, the prosperity of Harding and Coolidge, the Ku Klux Klan, the hip flask, all sorts of curiosities. I missed the beginnings of the Depression. Those years I spent in Russia, in China, and Japan. I witnessed wars and revolutions, and I lived among unbelievable poverty. In fact, I'd become so accustomed to human suffering, to low standards of living, to a vast chasm between the rich and the poor, that when I returned to my own country in 1931, everything looked plentiful and prosperous to me, although everybody told me there was a depression. Living outside the United States for a long period made this country particularly precious to me. It is a curious feeling about your own country. Your own people are so far away. Every bit of news that came to us from America seemed so important. The 4th of July was for the Americans in Peking or Shanghai or Tokyo so meaningful a festival. It was impossible in this alien atmosphere not to make comparisons between the American civilization and the civilizations among which I lived. They were delightful, friendly, kindly human beings. In fact, I married one of them. But there was an essential difference in culture, in ideas of life, in the forms of civilization. And that essential difference was in the relationship of man to man, which is truly the relationship of man to God. The problem that faced me throughout the 34 years that I have been writing about the forces and events of these days has been to find a guiding philosophy, for to write without such guidance is to throw words together helter-skelter without real meaning. I could have found such guidance in dozens of patterns of life, from such moderns as Hegel and Marx, or from Nietzsche or Bakunin. Many have gone to these fountains for inspiration, as others have to William James or John Dewey. Perhaps it was the traditions of my race, or the teachings of my rabbinical father, or the influence of Maimonides and Thomas Aquinas. Whatever the influence, more and more I have turned to the Bible and to the religions of God for my inspiration. And in the American Declaration of Independence, in its first 150 words, I have found a philosophy of politics based on natural law, which has guided me in all my work. Thomas Jefferson there penned a moral theory of government, which stands firm in all the confusions of our times. Each man must find his own creed in the traditions that discipline his mind and work. In the natural law, I have found mine.
Those were the beliefs of King Features columnist George Sokolsky.
Wheaties presents Night Beat. On stage tonight from Hollywood, Night Beat, another in the Wheaties' big parade of exciting half-hour presentations. Night Beat.
Hi, this is Randy Stone. I cover the Night Beat for the Chicago Star. Stories begin in many different ways. And sometimes when you start digging for the facts behind a story, you end up by finding that you've dug yourself a grave.
Night Beat, starring Frank Lovejoy as Randy Stone.
On a hot August afternoon back in 1936, young Bobby Feller stepped out on the mound and started his first major league game as a Cleveland Indian. He was just 17 years old. Bob, step up here and tell us what happened that day.
Well, Ed, I was really loaded with Wheaties for that game. I struck out 15 St. Louis Browns.
You think the Wheaties helped, eh, Bob?
Ed, I'll tell you, Wheaties always help. I've been eating them for pretty near 20 years, 4 or 5 times a week. And Wheaties with milk and fruit are still my favorite breakfast dish.
That's wonderful, Bob. Thanks for stopping by, and best wishes to a real Wheaties champion.
Yes, thank you, Bob Feller. And folks, did you hear what the man said? Wheaties always help. Now, you may not play baseball for a living, but you can use whole wheat energy, too. You try it. Breakfast of Champions. Have some and see yourself how Wheaties at 7 can help at 11.
If anyone had told me once about seeing flying saucers in the sky, I'd have tagged him either as a joker or a candidate for the booby hatch. But nowadays, anything is possible, apparently. You know, you could tell me that you saw a little man from Mars 3 feet high, and I wouldn't disbelieve you. Because tonight, I saw someone almost as strange. Fred Muller's bookshop is a shabby little place amidst a teeming stretch of tattoo parlors and penny arcades. It was the book in its window that caught my eye as I was passing. An early edition Bible, richly bound in antique leather, hand-tooled and inlaid with heavy gold leaf. It stood out against the books that surrounded it like a 90-carat diamond in a display of 10-cent jewelry. I looked up, and there was Mr. Moeller watching me through the dusty window with the smile of a man holding in his fear. And I went in. Hello.
A little early, aren't you?
Early? It's almost 10 o'clock.
I know.
I'm just looking at that old Bible in your window.
You are a collector of old Bibles, no doubt.
No, not exactly. I just happened to see that same book on Mr. Ron Heileman's living room floor the night he was murdered about 6 months ago.
I am aware of that.
You mind if I have a look at it?
You brought the money with you? No tricks?
No tricks. Look, all I want to do is see the book.
One moment.
How much do you want for it?
The price is still $50,000.
50? Are you kidding?
I said no tricks. You've already agreed on the price.
Oh, you've got your wires crossed. I haven't agreed to anything. Who do you think I am, anyway?
Aren't you the man?
The name is Stone, Randy Stone of the Chicago Star.
Oh, a newspaper reporter. I'm sorry, Mr. Stone. I thought you were a messenger from one of my customers. He was supposed to be here at 10 o'clock.
Yeah, sure. If you don't mind my asking, why is this book worth $50,000?
Why, this, sir, is one of the finest volumes of its kind in existence. Published in 1513 by Martel, the contemporary of Caxton.
Yeah, but I know enough about books to know that $500 would be plenty. Do the bloodstains on the cover increase the value?
Bloodstains?
Was lying on the floor in Heileman's study when the police found the body. Ron Heileman had been stabbed with a pair of desk shears.
Yes, a terrible thing. Murdered by his houseboy, wasn't it? A man named...
Canto, Willie Canto. That still doesn't make the book worth $50,000.
Well, there's something different about this book.
Is that so?
Oh, this book is a black gospel.
Fine.
Don't rush away. It's very interesting. For instance, the first 12 sections are the first 12 books of the Bible. Can you read this Old English script?
Well, not as well as an old Englishman, but I can try.
Read it.
And he burnt the house of the Lord at... What's this other stuff that follows on the next page? Hail to thee, Lucifer. What is this, anyway?
Don't you see? It's the beginning of the Black Gospel. The Devil's Bible.
What's that?
Well, you see, in the year 1513, possession of this sort of literature was a sure passport to the gallows or the stake. Now, here's the invocation to Satan himself, summoning him up from hell, which was considered the most potent of all the spells You seem rich.
Mr. Mola, why are you trying to keep me here?
Well,
You're not sure whether this messenger you're expecting at 10 will come with money or a gun, is that it?
Oh, really now?
Well, if you're afraid, why don't you call a cop? I got work to do. I can't stay here and play bodyguard.
Oh, wait, please. The police wouldn't understand.
Well, if it's that kind of a deal, then all I can suggest is you make with a spell, call up the devil, let him protect you. I'm going.
Some of these prayers to Satan are remarkable, Mr. Stone. Here, let me read you one.
Oh, well, if it'll make you feel better.
Hail to thee, Satan, Lord of Death. Praises to thee, Prince of Destruction. Let transgression of the wicked be glorified, and the purple testament of war be proclaimed. Take us, Lucifer, son of the morning, for we are thine.
Good evening.
Mola's eyes popped at the apparition that had appeared behind us. He'd come in soundlessly through the open door, a bearded man in a black turtleneck sweater, dark trousers, and black sneakers.
What do you want?
The book. I came to get the book.
What? What book?
The one you have there. The Devil's Bible.
Who sent you?
Don't answer that. Mr. Stone, if you don't mind, sir, this happened to be my business.
Virgil said it would be here.
Who?
Virgil, my guide.
Who are you?
Mr. Stone, I'm going to close in a few minutes if you don't mind. Good night.
Oh, so this is your messenger. Now it's time to get rid of me. Is that it, Mr. Mola? What's your name, pal?
Dante.
Dante.
Did you bring the money?
Money? What money?
Well, this doesn't look like your $50,000 to me, Mr. Mola.
I need no money.
Get out of here.
Now, wait a minute. Dante, what's your last name?
I am Dante Alighieri.
The 14th century Italian poet who wrote the Divine Comedy.
He's a madman.
Yeah, but he writes like a dream.
It was Virgil who took me to purgatory. My Beatrice led me to paradise. We walked with the angel.
First it's a newspaper reporter, now it's a lunatic.
Princes of hell, Zamiel, Asmodeus, and Apollyon, they are powerless before me. Their testament is mine. Now give it to me.
Get out of here.
I tell you it's mine. Mine.
Take your hands off it.
Easy, Danny. Let go. That's better.
Now, get out.
The fawn in the turtleneck sweater left reluctantly, looking back over his shoulder as he eased out the door and slipped off into the night. And as I watched him go, I had a funny feeling that somewhere, sometime, I'd seen that strange, thin face with the high cheekbones and the pointed ears before. I headed for the garage to pick up my car. I wondered where he'd gone and where he'd come from. And then suddenly, there across the street, leaning against a lamppost, staring back at the light still shining in the bookshop window a block away, I spotted him. I stepped off the sidewalk and hurried toward him. He turned abruptly, and I called, "Hey, Danny, wait!" But he fled into the darkness. When I got to the office, I figured that Mola's little bookshop might make the basis of a human interest yarn if I tied it in with the breakup of the late Ron Heileman's famous book collection. So I had our librarian, Benny Marcus, dig out the files on the case from the morgue. I found something that made me do a fast take.
What is it, Randy?
Well, I just looking at the picture on this story.
Huh? Oh, Mrs. Beatrice Heileman, huh? Ain't bad, is she? Young enough to be Heileman's daughter instead of his widow. Well, they say he was a connoisseur.
No, that's not the picture I'm looking at. This one, Willie Canto.
Huh? Hey, what are you doing?
I'm just drawing a set of whiskers on Mr. Canto's skinny face.
Randy, what kind of fool is this?
Look, Benny, look. I just brought a dead man back to life.
What are you talking?
Willie Canto with a beard or his double. If it is Willie, I bet he go over to Mola's bookshop, but quick.
Well, why?
He's killed one man already. Fred Mola could be number 2. I'd have called the police if I hadn't been afraid of raising a false alarm, which proves that silence is sometimes a poor substitute for brains. It was raining as I pulled up in front of Mola's bookshop. I saw that his lights were still on. The Black Gospel had not been replaced in the window. When I went in, it was neither on the counter nor anywhere that I could see. The place was deserted. I walked to the door of the back room and knocked. Mr. Mola? Mr. Mola? Where's that light switch? Well, it's his office. He must have... Mr. Mola. The old man lay sprawled on the floor. I knelt beside him. His body was still warm, but he was quite dead. A small black bullet hole in the center of his forehead explained why.
General Mills is bringing you Night Beat, starring Frank Lovejoy as Randy Stone.
Hi there. This is Frank Martin, the man about the Wheaties. You know, I like talking about Wheaties on Night Beat because our star really eats them. And incidentally, I eat them. The burning question is, do you eat them? Truth is, millions of Americans do eat Wheaties. And I have a hunch one reason is that Wheaties taste so good. Nothing I can say about crisp flakes and all that will tell you half so much as the fact that millions of us eat them and love them. So, not one more word will you get out of me right now on the good, solid, whole wheat taste of Wheaties. You try them and you'll know all. Now, of course, there's another reason why so many millions of us dip into Wheaties come breakfast time. It's the whole wheat energy, the wonderful energy that makes the whole morning go better. There's a whole kernel of wheat, for goodness sake, in every flake of Wheaties. That's why they give so much. That's why they're so poppin' full of vitamins and minerals for your good morning. That's why Wheaties with milk and fruit starts a breakfast to remember. So why don't you join us tomorrow morning, us millions of Wheaties eaters? Make yours breakfast of champions, too. Join us, and you'll see how Wheaties at 7 can help at 11. Do that, huh?
And now, back to Night Beat and Randy Stone.
When Willie Canto showed up at Old Man Mola's bookshop, I didn't recognize him at first. After all, he was supposed to have drowned himself after he killed his boss, Ron Heileman. I hurried back to the bookshop and found that Mr. Mola was dead, a bullet through his head, and the book he'd been trying to sell for $50,000 gone. I reached for the phone. The phone is dead. You must have cut the wire.
Yes, I did.
Oh. Willie Canto.
My name is Dante Alighieri.
Oh, yes, I remember that. You've been standing behind the door all this time pointing that gun at me?
Yes.
Now, look, Dante.
Don't come any closer. I must kill you.
Why? You usually kill your friends?
You're no friend.
But I am.
Oh, then why did you plot to harm my Beatrice?
Beatrice? Oh, yes, Dante and Beatrice. I forgot.
You've made spells against my Beatrice. But you are finished. You must die. The book can't save you now.
Wait a minute. Let's talk some more, Dante, old boy. So you've got the book, huh?
No. Virgil has taken it.
Virgil? Oh, sure, Virgil, of course. Your guide through hell and purgatory. Where is he now? On the Chinatown at night run?
That's enough of talk. It makes my head hurt. Yeah. You must die.
You don't want to kill me, Daddy Chum. If you killed me, you'd be a murderer.
No.
You'd never see paradise with Beatrice. You'd go to hell.
No.
Give me the gun, Canto.
No.
We stood facing each other about 12 feet apart while he struggled with himself. I couldn't afford to wait. A little pressure on that trigger and I'd be featured in the obituary column. I tensed for a spring and then... Willie Canto's gun hand fell to his side, and his dark eyes were suddenly filled with tears. I stepped forward and took the automatic from his long fingers.
I should kill you, but I cannot. I cannot.
Oh, don't feel too bad about it. I don't. Now, let's get on out of here and go for a little drive. The fresh air will do us both good. The rain stopped. There's my car. Hey, Willie, come back here. Canto, come back or I'll shoot. I wasn't going to, of course, but on the bare chance it might give him pause, I pointed the gun to the sky. The shot seemed to give him jet propulsion. He dived into an alley and vanished. I turned around and headed back toward my car. I got there just as a couple of prowl cars pulled up behind mine.
Down.
Oh? Well, Sergeant Blank.
No, it was you who called the police. Why didn't he give you a name? You bashful or something?
I haven't had a chance to call anybody yet.
Well, somebody called. He said that some guy just killed a fellow who runs this bookshop. What are you doing with that gun?
Oh, don't look at me like that, Buzz. It belongs to a fellow who was found dead in the river 3 months ago.
Well, who gave it to you?
He did.
Huh? What are you talking about?
Willie Canto, the fellow who killed Ron Heileman. He's as big as life, and he's twice as crazy.
You're the one who's crazy. Everybody in the Heileman household identified Canto's body. His wife, his secretary, John Talbot, the butler, the gardener.
So they made a mistake.
Then we'd better go out and have a talk with Mrs. Beatrice Heileman. If Canto's on the loose, they may be planning to call on her.
Mind if I come along? The Heileman estate featured a lot of formal gardens, 2 or 3 guest cottages, and a mansion about the size of Mount Vernon. The only thing that could have made the interior more early American was a stuffed Indian over the mantelpiece. Tears shimmered in Beatrice Heileman's lovely violet eyes as Sergeant Black told her what had happened.
Oh, poor Willie. I guess I was wrong when I identified that body as his. But even John Talbot, my husband's secretary, thought it was he.
I don't want to alarm you, Mrs. Heileman, but there's a chance Canto may show up here.
Oh, but Willie wouldn't harm me. Why, he was always devoted to me.
He was devoted to your husband, too, but look what happened.
I still can't believe it. My husband was so kind to him, so gentle. He even tried to teach Willie to understand some of those dull books of his.
Like Dante, huh?
Dante? Why, that was my husband's nickname for Willie. How did you know?
Willie thinks he is Dante.
Oh? Ron was always giving people the names of characters in his books. Sometimes I don't think they were very complimentary. But I was never too sure.
Who was Virgil?
Virgil?
Yeah.
Well, I don't know. Wait a minute. That's what he called his secretary.
John Talbot?
Yes, Mr. Talbot.
John Talbot, Virgil.
I suppose he doesn't work here anymore.
Well, yes. I've needed him to help me wind up my husband's estate. There were so many things to be done. Why?
Does he live here on the premises?
Yes, but he isn't in town now. Poor man's been working so hard cataloging the rest of those books that I told him to take a week off. He left yesterday.
I see. Where'd he go?
He mentioned something about fishing in Minnesota.
Well, thanks, Mrs. Heileman. Homicide will probably talk to you about this further, but in the meantime, keep your doors and windows locked, just in case.
Oh, I'll be careful. Thank you.
When we stepped out into the night, it had begun to rain again. Sergeant Black drove off to make his report to headquarters, and I stopped to light a cigarette and try to make some sense out of the mess. And then I saw a dim figure emerge from a side entrance to the big house. The figure of a man standing momentarily in a yellow fuzz of light that shone from the open door. A small, familiar silhouette. The door closed and the darkness swallowed him, but there was no doubt about it. It was Willie Canto. I jumped out of the car. Willie! I caught sight of a shadowy figure as he whirled and ran toward the back. Willie! He headed toward the guest cottages, barely visible in the faint glow of a distant street lamp, and for a moment I lost him. Then I heard him leap across the veranda of one of the cottages, and I charged after him. He didn't have time to bolt the door in my face. Willie, what's the matter with you? Just want to have a word? Where are you? Turn on the light. Where's the switch?
Wait.
Well, that's better. What are you scared of?
You're the police.
What gave you that idea?
I heard you. In the house. We're talking to my Beatrice.
Oh, I see. She knew you were there all the time, didn't she?
Why, yes, of course. I was in the next room.
Well, I'm not with the police. I'm just a broken-down reporter. So put that nice big knife down, Willie.
Huh?
First a gun, then a knife. You're a bad boy, Willie.
What do you want of me?
That knife, put it on the dresser, and then we'll talk. Yeah, that's better. Now, what were you doing out there in the rain?
Going away. Far away.
Why?
She says, if I love her, I will go away. Farther than before.
Than before? Where was that? Where you been spending the last 6 months?
On the island.
What island?
Where Mr. Heileman has his summer cottage.
So she told you to go there?
Yes. She's so kind. She gives me money. She sends me food. But it's so lonely. I had to see her. Why does she tell me to go? She told me before she loved me. Beatrice doesn't change. She's kind and generous. Her heart is like gold.
Yes, yellow and hard.
What?
Did she ask you to kill Mr. Heilemann?
Oh, no. I wouldn't kill her. Yes. Yes, I killed him. It was me. I killed him.
Pretty mean, wasn't he, Willie?
Oh, no. He was a nice man.
You killed people who were nice to you?
No, I wouldn't. I killed him.
Beatrice wouldn't want you to lie, not even for her sake. She'd want you to tell the truth, Willie. Did the secretary stab Mr. Heilemann?
No.
But he killed a man in the bookshop.
Yes.
And you know who killed the man who was so good to you, Mr. Heilemann, don't you? Don't you, Willie? You know. You saw it, didn't you? You know who killed him.
Yes. I know.
Go on, Willie. Tell me what you saw.
I saw through the door into the library. Mr. Heilemann was there and Beatrice.
Yeah? What were they doing?
He says he knows about Beatrice and Virgil. He says he will get a divorce.
Yeah? Go on. Then what happened?
She picked up the scissors and... No. I did it.
She told you to say that, didn't she? What happened after she stabbed him?
She ran out of the room. I went in. And Mr. Heilemann was trying to get up. He said, Willie, get me some paper. Some paper. There was no paper. There was only the book. My book. And I put it on the floor so that he could write.
The Black Gospel?
Yes. He wrote in it. On the empty page in front, he said, give this to the police. They will know who killed me.
Well, why didn't you?
I was afraid. For Beatrice. She comes in again, and Mr. Talbot is with her. They say that I must go away.
You never told them what Mr. Heilemann wrote in the book? No, of course not. They'd never sold it with the rest of the collection.
I don't remember. Everything is all mixed up.
So that's why it was worth $50,000.
What? What do you say?
Nothing, Willie. So they identified that body as yours, hoping the police had dropped the search. Well, you're lucky to be alive.
Mr. Stone.
Everything falls into place. Not a pretty picture, but it's clear enough.
That's unfortunate, Mr. Stone.
It was our old pal, John Talbot, the secretary. He stood in the open door of the next room, framed against the darkness. I hadn't seen him since the inquest on Heilemann's death, but he hadn't changed. He was a slender, handsome man, looking like a college professor in tweeds and rimless glasses. The type generally pictured carrying a pipe or a book. But what he was carrying was a snub-nosed .38 revolver.
A touching little tale, Willie.
Virgil.
Does that gun mean I should have knocked before entering?
Opportunity is always welcome, Mr. Stone, whether it knocks or not.
Opportunity for what?
To dispose of an unforeseen problem.
Oh, meaning me, I suppose.
Meaning both of you.
It's Beatrice. Her footsteps.
John, it's all right. They're gone. I've been waiting for you. Oh, Mr. Stone. Willie.
Beatrice, I was going away, but Mr. Stone...
Shut the door.
John, what is it? Why the gun?
It seems that your faithful Dante has been talking to this newspaper fellow.
What?
Rather extensively, I'm afraid.
Willie, have you gone crazy?
Oh, Mr. Stone wouldn't harm you, Beatrice. You wouldn't touch her, would you, Mr. Stone?
Not without gloves.
What did he tell you, Mr. Stone? That lunatic. And you believe him? John, is that why you're holding a gun? You fool. What does it matter what Willie said about me? There's no proof.
You consider yourself safe just because I destroyed that wretched book. Oh, no, my dear. That's not enough. I've got to silence him.
Now with that gun!
Let go of me, you little fool. This fellow knows too much.
I can't stand anymore.
Let
I can't stand it.
Let go of my arm.
So many terrible things. I can't stand it anymore.
I said let go.
Oh!
You hit her. You hit her.
Willie, no.
I'll kill you.
Get back and drop that knife.
Willie Tonto staggered as I leaped forward and knocked the gun from Talbot's hand. Talbot reeled backwards and sat down heavily on the sofa behind him. It was then that I saw the dagger in his side and the red stain spreading. Beatrice stood with her back against the wall, her eyes wide, staring at Talbot, and then at Willie lying doubled up on the floor. And suddenly she gave way. I snatched up the gun and went to the phone. As I reached for it, I saw that Willie had risen to his hands and knees, his thin face glistening with sweat. He began to crawl towards Mrs. Heilemann, one hand reaching out for her, his eyes glazed with pain.
Beatrice, my Beatrice.
No! Don't touch me!
Beatrice!
Keep away! I can't stand you! No! No! No!
Beatrice, come back. Oh, please, please. Beatrice.
Dante's Inferno. Yep. Hello, operator. Get me the police. Well, the clock hands are converging on 4, pinching out the last hours of the night. The rain has stopped and the new moon is out. No lover's moon, but thin and curving. Like a knife or a dagger. The curved dagger that Willie Canto used. Poor Willie. He wasn't the first who was betrayed by what he thought was love. Love is like eating mushrooms. You don't know whether it's the real thing until it's too late. Oh, well. Copy, boy.
You are listening to Night Beat on the Wheaties Big Parade.
If you're a mother or a father with a warm spot in your heart for pink-cheeked, happy-eyed youngsters, here's something you should know. Good food builds good health, and Wheaties are good food. Now, I don't know what you've been doing about breakfast for the kids, but did you know that there's a whole kernel of wheat in every Wheaties flake? With the sunny, wholehearted goodness of field-grown wheat in every flake? With the full strength of whole wheat vitamins, minerals, proteins in every flake? It's true. Whole wheat in all its richness. That's what you furnish when you fill the cereal bowl with Wheaties. Don't slip up. See that they get Wheaties. Crisp, sunshiny, good. Pour on the milk, put on the fruit, and know the youngsters are getting all that whole wheat can give. Do that now. Wheaties, breakfast of champions.
Night Beat, starring Frank Lovejoy, is produced and directed by Warren Lewis and edited by Larry Marcus. Tonight's story was written by Irvin Ashkenazi with music by Frank Worth. The part of Willie Canto was played by Ben Wright. Beatrice Heilemann was Lorene Tuttle. Others in tonight's cast were Fritz Feld, Herb Ellis, Tudor Owen, and Lou Krugman. Frank Lovejoy will next be seen in Milton Sperling's production, 3 Secrets, released by Warner Brothers. Listen next week at this time and every week as Randy Stone searches through the city for the strange stories waiting for him in the darkness.
And this is the Wheaties man, Frank Martin, inviting you to listen also on Tuesday, that's tomorrow night, to the Penny Singleton Show on the Wheaties Big Parade. See you then.
This is Frank Lovejoy reminding you of today's biggest bargain, United States Savings Bonds. You pay for 3 and you get 4. Save with United States Savings Bonds and build your own future.
Night Beat came to you from Hollywood. Stay tuned for the first piano quartet on NBC.
This I believe. Dr. George H. Hand is Vice President of Southern Illinois University at Carbondale, Illinois. Teaching and educational administration has been his life work. Starting as a high school commercial teacher and athletic coach, he taught college economics and worked his way up through the academic ranks. Then, suddenly his career was threatened. Here is Dr. George Hand with his story and his creed.
I did not get the real significance of the saying, it pays to do the right thing, until recently, when I had the most important and trying opportunity of my life to test the theory. As a college president, I defended a dismissed faculty member. My determination to stand for truth and justice cost me my position. But the worry of the following weeks was exceeded by the conviction that honesty pays, and pay it did, in many ways. I have a better position, But far more important than economic security, I have a clear conscience and renewed faith that the church, the home, and the school are teaching the young exactly the principles that they should be taught. Throughout the bitter 18 months, which included many meetings, many evidences of fear, hysteria, and distrust, I followed the advice of my preacher when the ethical seemed to conflict with the expedient. The heartwarming memories of the nationwide support of newspapers, magazines, and friends strengthened my belief that an attitude of cheerfulness, patience, optimism, kindness, friendliness, cooperativeness make for personal happiness and the general welfare. Early in this experience, Mrs. Hand and I discussed with our two sons the choice of standing for our principles or not, running the risk of losing my position. The family voted unanimously in favor of standing for our principles. The night I was dismissed, a group of faculty members, their husbands and wives, waited with my family for my return from the state capitol. During the interval, our older son, who was 15 years of age, casually remarked that what Pop needs is fire insurance. This was heartening, because it indicated that our son had been at least partly conditioned to the responsibilities of the individual in a democracy. Expressions of loyalty by students, faculty, and staff showed also that my efforts at practicing and preaching democracy had been successful. To get people, young or old, to do what is wanted, one should do, not preach, what should be done. Another conviction of mine was confirmed in these fateful 18 months, that some self-appointed defenders and saviors of Americanism, although well-meaning, do not understand the real meaning of the term. For example, a local anti-subversive committee requested the college to label the library books that were listed by the House Un-American Activities Committee as undesirable. It did not occur to them that Americanism stands for freedom, including the freedom to read what one wants to read without censorship and without a tag. In other words, they were asking us to destroy the freedom they thought they were protecting. Naturally, we refused. Everyone, but above all the community leaders, should bend every effort to help the church, the home, and the school succeed in their most precious task, making each individual as Christ-like as his talents permit, and thus a happy, useful, and peaceful individual, the end result of which will be a happy, useful, and peaceful world.
They're the beliefs of Dr. George N. Hand, Vice President of Southern Illinois University. He lives with his wife and two sons at Carbondale, Illinois.
Richard Diamond, Private Detective, starring Dick Paul.
Diamond Detective Agency. Murders are better than ever.
Mr. Diamond?
I stand condemned.
My name is Arnold Bryce. I'm an art collector.
Well, unless you're looking for empty beer bottles, I'm afraid you have the wrong man.
You're a detective, aren't you?
That's right.
Well, then you're the man I want. How soon can you come over to my home?
Well, that depends on two things, where you live and what you want me for.
I live at 9607 Riverside Drive. But I'd rather tell you the nature of your assignment in person, if you don't mind.
Well, that suits me, but my fee is $100 a day in expenses. Still want me to come over?
Money is no object, Mr. Diamond. Please hurry.
Yes?
My name's Diamond. I'd like to see Mr. Bryce.
Mr. Arnold Bryce?
That's right.
Well, come in, sir.
Thank you.
Mr. Bryce is busy with an art dealer in the library, sir. You can wait in the gallery.
The gallery?
The art gallery. This way, sir.
He led me down the hall and into a room that looked like it was once a den. There was a piano in the room, and hanging over the fireplace was a large painting of the Mona Lisa. The other three walls were all covered with pictures, too. This, I took it, was the gallery.
Just make yourself comfortable, sir. I'll tell Mr. Bryce you're here when he's finished.
Thank you.
Beautiful room, isn't it?
Oh, yes. Lots of paintings.
I didn't mean the paintings. I meant the room.
Oh, I take it you don't like the art?
No, sir.
I only appreciate what I can see in the picture. This room used to be a study until Mr. Arnold Bryce came.
And who had it before?
Mr. Jasper Bryce. He died 2 months ago and left this house to Mr. Arnold. Well, I must get on with my work, sir.
The butler gave a disgusted look at the paintings and took his leave. Come to think of it, I agreed with the old boy. Most of the paintings were what is called moderne, which is sort of a nasty poke at the present period.
Hi there. If you're a burglar, just help yourself. Take them all if you want to.
Well, I didn't know I had company.
That's because you're not a very good burglar. You should be more careful.
You, no doubt, are the local police force.
No, I won't turn you in. Oh, what's the use? Used to be I could joke. Used to be I liked to joke. Now it's no fun. Who are you, really? What do you want here? Gonna fix you a drink?
Hey, that's a lot of questions for a little girl.
Little girl.
She staggered over to a couch and sat down while I took a good look at her. Beautiful is a word thrown around a lot these days, but it could only describe her. She had soft brown hair, big brown eyes, with a sort of a pleading look about them. She was wearing a pair of lounging pajamas, but her figure was nothing to speak of. When you found one like this, you kept the news to yourself.
Ugly.
What's that?
I said ugly.
Oh.
Meaning those pictures. You like pictures? Oh, you look like the type who would like pictures.
Well, I'm flattered.
Look at that one. You ever see such a mess? That's night chasing away the morning in September.
Well, you could have fooled me.
That's my husband's favorite. You a friend of my husband?
No.
Neither am I. All he does is buy paintings. He's a nut about paintings. He should have married one.
You must be Mrs. Bryce.
I must be. Then that's life. Oh, who'd you say you were?
I didn't, but the name's Diamond.
My name's Della. You know...
Mr. Diamond, Mr. Bryce will see you now.
Oh, get lost, Timothy. Mr. Diamond and I are just getting acquainted.
But Mr. Bryce said...
Mr. Bryce. All right, you better go and see him, Mr. Diamond. My husband hates to be kept waiting. Me, I'd rather be alone anyway. I'm going to sit here till I figure out just why in blazes night is chasing morning away in September.
I left Della Bryce staring at the picture and followed Timothy to the library. Inside, I met Mr. Arnold Bryce. He was a big man and looked old enough to be Della's father. On the desk lay another modern painting, and he sat admiring it like it was the deed to the Taj Mahal.
Look at it, Diamond. Look at it.
Yes.
A masterpiece. Masterpiece.
Well, it's original, all right.
Of course. I buy nothing but originals. Can't stand copies, can you?
Well, I really haven't thought about it lately. Tell me, is this masterpiece what you wanted to see me about?
Oh, no. Just thought you'd enjoy seeing it.
Mm-hmm. Well, now that we've had our kick, suppose we get on to business.
Fine. Mr. Diamond, I'm number 34 on this city's social register. Do you follow me?
No, I'm about 6 millionth.
Please, sir, I'm very serious.
Sorry.
Now then, one in my position must be discreet. Divorce, heavens knows, is scandal enough, but, well, to have a roust about for a wife, that I cannot tolerate.
Heavens, no.
I was married a little over 6 months ago, and to be frank, Mr. Diamond, my wife doesn't like me.
Go on.
That's all. I want to get rid of her.
Mr. Bryce, I'm a detective, not an assassin.
Of course. I want you to help me find grounds for divorce.
Oh. Well, a case like this can take a long while. At $100 a day, that can add up to quite a bill.
I hired you because I've heard you're the finest detective in New York.
Oh, well, thanks for the flattery, but the fee is still $100 a day, and...
I told you over the phone money meant nothing to me. Here. Here's a check I made out to you. It's for $500. That should serve as a retainer.
Well, yes, that's...
Now then, we can get on with this. I think my wife is in love with another man.
No.
Yes. And I think that... I keep forgetting these walls are soundproof. We've only lived in this house a few weeks. My Uncle Jasper left it to me.
Yes, your butler told me.
Timothy? Queer duck, Timothy. Uncle Jasper left me him, too.
Oh. Well, let's get back to your wife.
Oh, yes. Mr. Diamond, when I married Della, I thought we'd be well suited. She's very beautiful. And, guess where we met?
I have no idea.
In an art gallery. Naturally, I thought Della would be an art lover like myself. I could just picture us sitting in front of the fire on cold winter evenings, gazing at my originals.
Thrilling thought.
Yes, but It wasn't to be. Della deceived me. She hates my paintings.
Well, it takes all kinds to make a world.
Yes, but my world is art, Mr. Diamond, and Della is no part of my world.
I see, but that hardly sounds like grounds for divorce, Mr. Bryce.
Oh, I realize that, but maybe this is. You see, Della used to date a boy named David Tharp. Now she's been going out a lot lately, and I think she may be seeing him again.
Mm-hmm. You think? Well,
I know it really may be nothing, but if she should be seeing him and we could prove it, wouldn't that be grounds?
Well, possibly.
Now, this boy used to work for the Gorman department store, and if he's still in town, I want him watched.
All right, I'll check with the store and report to you later.
Good. Timothy will show you out, Mr. Diamond.
I left Mr. Arnold Bryce admiring the monstrosity he had purchased earlier. On the way out, I took another peek into the gallery to see if Della Bryce was still around. She wasn't. And then I noticed the Mona Lisa again. Somehow it seemed so out of place. I was staring at it when Timothy came up behind me.
I see you admire the lady.
Say, don't you ever make noise?
Beautiful, isn't she?
The Mona Lisa?
Yes. Look at that face. The most lovely face in the world.
I thought you didn't like art.
Not what Mr. Bryce calls art. Only that picture. Do you know about it?
Do I know about it?
Oh, so many things. It really has a colorful history. Da Vinci painted her over 400 years ago.
No.
Yes. Zenobia del Giocondo's wife posed for Leonardo 4 years before it was finished.
My.
Everyone loves it. Francis I of France paid 4,000 golden florins for it.
You really know the facts, huh?
Oh, yes, sir. I've read many books about La Gioconda's history. I come here often and just stare into her face. Do you know that men have stared into the mystery of that face and then killed themselves?
You don't say.
Yes. But I'm probably boring you. This way, sir.
He took a last tender look at the picture and then led the way to the door. It was a crazy house full of crazy people, and felt good to be outside again. The job I had was strictly routine, but as long as Bryce paid for my services, he'd get them. I took off for lunch, then went to the Gorham department store to find David Tharp. There I found Tharp, had joined the Army 6 weeks ago and was now stationed in California. That meant that Bryce's suspicions about his wife were unfounded, at least as far as Tharp was concerned.
Hello?
Let me speak to Mr. Bryce.
Who's this?
Oh, that worn-out voice sounds familiar. Walt?
Yeah, is this Diamond?
Yeah, but what are you doing there? Or did I dial the wrong number?
You calling Arnold Bryce, Rick?
That's right.
And you have the right number. Was he a client of yours?
Uh-oh. I don't like the way you said was.
You guessed it. Better get over here, Rick. Arnold Bryce has been murdered.
In my pocket was a check for $500 signed by one Arnold Bryce. This same Arnold Bryce was now dead, according to Lieutenant Walt Levinson, who was very reliable in these matters. I took a cab to the Bryce home on Riverside Drive. Timothy, the tall, gaunt butler, again let me in. His expression hadn't changed since I'd seen him earlier. Well, Timothy, a lot of excitement around here, huh?
Yes, sir. The police are in the gallery. So is Mr. Arnold's body. Gruesome sight.
Rick.
Hello, Walt.
He's in there. Want to have a look at him?
Why not?
The boys from the lab are all finished. There he is.
Head bashed in, huh?
Coroner says he's been dead for about 2 hours. That places the time of the murder around noon.
Found the murder weapon?
Nope. Figured it must be the missing poker from this fireplace set. Got the boys upstairs now looking for it.
Who found the body, Walt?
Mrs. Bryce. Otis is in the library now taking her statement. What's your angle in this?
Well, Bryce hired me for stock investigating. He was thinking of divorcing his wife.
Well, at last we've got a motive. She finds out he's getting rid of her and knocks him off.
Maybe. Who else was in the house?
It's the butler, the maid, and Mrs. Bryce. Otis is sure the butler did it. Been reading murder mysteries again.
No. How about visitors? Anyone come to see Bryce around noon?
No, apparently not. Looks like an inside job, Rick. We've got 3 suspects, and all we can do is grill them till one of them breaks down. So we might as well start on the wife.
Mind if I sit in?
No. Come on.
We left the gallery and walked down to the library. Inside sat Della Bryce, patiently answering the questions of that master detective, that super sleuth, Sergeant Otis Loveloon.
Hello, Lieutenant. I got a statement down on paper, and I'm asking some questions on my own. She said... Oh, Diamond.
Don't look so happy, Otis. Hello, Mrs. Bryce.
Well, you come back. That man, Lieutenant, he's the one who saw my husband earlier.
Yes, we know that, Mrs. Bryce. This is Richard Diamond. He's a private detective.
Oh. Well, what would Arnold want with a private detective?
It seems he was planning to divorce you. Or didn't you know that yet?
Divorce me? You're kidding.
You want to tell us the joke, too, Mrs. Bryce?
Oh, this is a good one.
Oh, come now.
Maybe it's Otis, Walt. After all, she's been looking at that face of his for an hour. Can you blame her?
Hey, I heard that.
Oh, I'm sorry, but that just struck me funny. That worm of a husband was going to divorce me. Well, I've already talked to a lawyer about getting rid of him.
I take it you and Mr. Bryce didn't get along?
You said it. I married Arnold because I thought it'd be fun to have a big home and a nice car. All those things money can buy.
Go on.
Well, the money part was okay, but Arnold... Well, a girl can only take so much.
It's a nice, respectful way to speak of the dead.
All right, so he's dead. So now I get all that money and don't have to put up with Arnold. I should cry?
Maybe a jury will think you picked up a poker in order to get that money.
Now, look. Just because I'm not crying and moaning about how much I loved Arnold doesn't mean I killed him. I didn't.
We'll decide that.
And will you please tell this baboon to stop asking me questions? Another hour in here with him and I'd confess to anything.
Good old Otis, the traveling third degree.
Now, look, Shamus.
Take it easy, Otis. Now, Mrs. Bryce, you say you were upstairs fixing your hair around noon?
That's right.
What about your lunch? Don't you eat?
I'm on a diet. Look, it's all there in my statement. Around 1 o'clock, I came downstairs and found the body. I called the police, and that's all I know.
Well, then, if you're innocent, you won't object to answering questions. So, make yourself comfortable.
Walt kept asking questions, and Della kept answering them. Half an hour later, Walt was getting tired. Della was getting tired, and I was already tired. Grilling a suspect is the most boring thing in the world, and it was a relief when Walt sent the girl upstairs.
Otis, you see that she goes to her room and then bring that maid in here.
Right, Lieutenant.
Well, Rick, what do you think?
I think she's innocent, Walt.
Oh, you do? Now, why?
Because she leaves herself wide open. She admits she's glad the guy's dead.
So maybe that's all a front to throw suspicion off her. She makes everything point toward her, and she thinks we'll figure she couldn't be that dumb.
Maybe, but I don't think so. I think Otis was right.
Huh? What are you talking about?
Well, you said he thought the butler did it. So do I.
Rick, I'm in no mood for jokes.
Look, Walt, the guy was bashed in the head, right? The top of the head. Now, Bryce is close to 6 feet tall. So is Timothy. Della's too short. She couldn't hit him on top of the head unless she stood on a ladder.
Yeah, I thought of that. But you can't convict a guy because he's tall enough to hit Bryce on top of the head. Besides, maybe Bryce stooped over to tie a shoelace. Any number of reasons.
Maybe. But I still bet Timothy killed him.
Okay, Sherlock. Tell me one more thing. Why? Why did he kill him? He'd only worked for him 2 weeks. No money's missing. Where's the motive?
I'm not sure, Walt. But I think it's in a picture.
Huh? Oh, now, Rick.
Walt, when I was here earlier, I talked to Timothy in the art gallery. We talked about the Mona Lisa.
Well, what about it?
He knew everything about it. A lot of its history. Now, here's a guy who hates all these paintings around but one. The Mona Lisa. But what's it doing here?
What's what doing here?
The Mona Lisa. Bryce told me himself he only collected originals. But the Mona Lisa hangs in the Louvre in France. That picture over the fireplace is only a copy, and Bryce hated copies.
Go on.
That's all. I don't know exactly why or how all this happened. I only know things don't add up. Timothy's admiration for that one painting and what's it doing here.
And somewhere in there you think there's a murder motive.
Why not? Sure, Della might have killed him for the money. That's a nice, big, fat motive. But, Walt, how many murders have big, fat motives? Darn few.
Well, you're right there.
A girl kills her sister because she called her fatty. A man shoots his wife for nagging. A woman poisons her neighbor for gossiping. A lot of little things can turn a twisted mind into a murderous mind.
Okay. But this picture angle doesn't impress me. Where's the motive, even a small one? I can't...
Here's the maid, Lieutenant. In here, miss.
Lieutenant, I am so sorry about this thing. I am feeling to cry.
Please, you can't think I have anything to do with it. I hardly know, Mr. Bryce.
Just sit down, miss. We just want you to answer some questions.
Now, don't be frightened, dear. We don't think you killed Mr. Bryce, but you might help us find out who did.
Oh, well, I'm glad to help.
Good. Now, how long have you worked here?
Oh, well, let me see. It has been 5 years. 5 years I have been here. I worked for Mr. Bryce's uncle. Then when he died, I stay on.
Oh. And Timothy, how long has he worked here?
Oh, goodness. Timothy has been here all his life. He has told me about it. His father worked for the old Mr. Jasper Bryce and his mother, too. Timothy, he grew up in that house. Then when his father died, he'd take over his job.
I see. Now, about the young Mr. Bryce, Arnold. Was he easy to get along with?
Well, I don't know him so well, but they have no trouble with him. Timothy does not agree with him at times, but they have no trouble.
Timothy doesn't agree with him? What do you mean?
Well, Mr. Arnold changed a lot of things. Moved furniture and such. Timothy thinks they look better where they have always been. Just this morning they argue. Mr. Bryce wants Timothy to get rid of something, but they do not remember what it is.
Oh. Then one more question. The room with all the paintings. Do you remember that room before Mr. Arnold Bryce came here?
Oh, yeah. He used to clean there. But there was not all the paintings there then.
No painting?
Not all there is now. Just the one. The painting of the pretty lady.
The Mona Lisa.
What did you say?
The Mona Lisa.
Yeah, that's it. That is what Timothy and Mr. Bryce was having words about this morning. The Mona Lisa.
That was it. I looked at Walt, and I could see that he was interested. Now there was a motive. Oh, not the big headline motive, just the kind you'll read on page 6 of your local paper. The kind of story that usually says the murderer is now undergoing sanity tests. Otis showed the maid out and left Walt and me with our little brains racing a mile a minute.
I don't know. We still haven't got anything to convict him.
Walt, he's a psycho, that's for sure. Now, the way I see it, he's crazy about that one picture. He grew up in the house. Maybe it means something to him. Then in comes Bryce with all his modern junk and orders Timothy to get rid of the Mona Lisa.
Yeah. But Timmy argues and Bryce insists. They were both in the library, so maybe Bryce was even going to take it down himself.
Could be. Then our boy gets mad, grabs the nearest thing, which happened to be the poker.
Okay, so it fits. We have a theory. But we still need one thing to convict him. A confession.
Yeah. Maybe we can use the Mona Lisa.
What?
He killed for it. He may talk for it. I outlined my plan to Walt. Timothy was a psychopathic, and I knew we'd have to get him in the right kind of mood. Walt agreed with the plan, and we headed for the gallery. They had removed Bryce's body from the room, and only a deep red spot in the carpet was left. Walt went looking for Timothy, and I moved over to the piano.
Here, Timothy. Oh, hello, Rick.
Hi, Walt. Just thought I'd pass the time at the piano.
It's all right. Just sit down, Timothy. I want you to wait here where I can locate you. We'll want to question you later.
Yes, sir.
I'll call you if I need you, Rick.
Okay, Walt. My playing bother you, Timothy?
Oh, not at all, sir. I like music.
Oh, me too. You know, that painting up there reminds me of a song I heard not long ago. Pretty thing. Went like this.
Mona Lisa, men have named you. You're so like the lady with the mystic smile. Is it only 'cause you're lonely they have blamed you for that Mona Lisa strangeness in your smile?
I watched him carefully as I sang. At first he stared at me with a strange look in his eye, but gradually he settled back in his chair and listened to the words. His eyes rested on the beautiful painting over the mantelpiece. This was the mood I'd wanted.
Many dreams have been brought to your doorstep. They just lie there, and they die there. Are you warm? Are you real, Mona Lisa? Or are just a cold and lonely, lovely work of art.
Well, did you like that? Hey, Timothy. Hey.
Huh? Oh, the song is very beautiful. It's fitting of her.
Mm-hmm. Well, I guess I'd better stop fooling around at the piano and do what I came here for. His eyes were on me as I got up from the piano bench and walked over to the fireplace. I tried not to look at him as I reached up for the picture, but I heard him jump from his chair.
What are you doing? Leave that alone.
Well, I'm sorry, friend, but Mrs. Bryce is all upset about her husband's death. She asked me if I wouldn't carry out his last wish and get rid of this. Clutters up the other pictures, you know.
Leave it alone. Take the others, but leave that alone.
Sorry, but out it goes to the trash pile.
No, it belongs here. The living part of this house. Put it down, I said. Put it down! I warned you.
Now, Timothy, take it easy. Put on that shovel.
When you put down the picture.
Oh, and if I don't, you'll swing that shovel at me just the way you swung a poker at Bryce.
He was an idiot. Throw it out, he said. Throw it out and leave that other trash on the walls. Now you want to throw it out, too. No, give me that painting.
All right, Timothy, you've got it.
Rick, are you all right?
Yeah. See how Timothy is.
He'll come around.
You heard from the door?
Yeah, enough.
Imagine. All this over a picture of a dame.
Richard Diamond, Private Detective, stars Dick Powell in the title role. It was written by Blake Edwards with music composed and conducted by Frank Worth. This is Bill Foreman speaking. Richard Diamond, Private Detective, is transcribed in Hollywood by Jaime Del Valle.
Richard Diamond, Private Detective, has come to you through the worldwide facilities of the United States Armed Forces Radio and Television Service.
This, I believe. Dr. George H.T. Kimball is the director of the American Geographical Society in New York City. For many years, he was a university lecturer in his native England. During World War II, as an officer in the British Navy, he prepared a weather graph, which was influential in determining the exact time of the D-Day invasion. Here now is Dr. Kimball.
I am a geographer, which means that I am concerned with observing, recording, and mapping the differences between one part of the world and another, and with probing their causes and consequences. In the course of my job, I have had the good fortune to travel widely in places as far apart as Alaska and Australia, the Congo and California. Now, the more I've seen of the Earth and pondered what I've seen, the more convinced I've become of four things. First, that it is a good Earth. It abounds in noble prospects and physical satisfactions, in things that are pleasant to the sight and good for food. If given half a chance, it brings forth fruit abundantly. Second, that it is an adequate Earth. Notwithstanding all the manhandling it has had and all the abuse, it is still capable of supplying the needs of mankind. There's no physical reason that I can see why all God's children should not get shoes, and at least a couple of square meals a day. Third, that it all hangs together. A storm in the Appalachians produces a flood in the Mississippi. A drought in Australia means less mutton on the Englishman's table. Warming up of the Gulf of Mexico means longer summers and better crops in Norway. Fourth, that the earth might yet be fair, and, to quote the poet, all men glad and wise. But how? As I said, my field is geography. Quite frankly, I find it difficult to believe that such a poetic vision is simply a matter of more bulldozers, more bushels per acre, more TVAs, or even more .4 programs. The best-fed nations in the world are not, from my observation of them, the happiest. Nor are the cleverest people necessarily the wisest. I believe in technology, but as an individual, things are not what I need most. I think I and my fellow men need faith. It seems to me that no matter where I've been, I've found men facing the same tangled skeins of desires, the same inner conflicts, the same uncertainties that I have to face. The fanatical Berbers that I lived amongst in the Atlas Mountains of North Africa were no different from me. If there was a difference, it was in the way we went about gaining our ends. If they didn't like a man, they assassinated him, and not with words either. If they didn't like a wife, they sent her back where she came from. Their biggest problems, like mine, were not physical or technical, but moral and spiritual. I have become convinced that there's only one way to deal effectively with this problem of frailty, selfishness and sin, mine as well as the other fellows, and that's by getting a new nature. Some years ago, I asked God to do for me what he had done for St. Paul, who, after his conversion, lived to say, "If any man be in Christ, he is a new creature. Old things are passed away, behold, all things are become new." I'm afraid I haven't made it too easy for him to fashion that new nature in me, but I do believe this, that since then my life has acquired a new dimension and new sources of strength, including the strength to be less concerned with my own selfish ends and more concerned with the welfare of others. I also believe that if enough of us were willing to let Christ cast out our sin and enter in, we could change the world and live to see the day when nation with nation, land with land, unarmed, shall live as comrades free, and in every heart and brain shall throb the pulse of one fraternity.
That was Dr. George H.T. Kimball, a geographer, who is not only concerned with the study of the Earth's surface, but with the spiritual life of men.
This is David Bryan. In a moment, we'll bring you another case from the files of Mr. District Attorney. And now, here is our star, David Bryan, as Paul Garrett, Mr. District Attorney. Dealing with crime, a district attorney is dealing basically with human reactions and characteristics. Thus, in the solving of crime, he learns to look for such things as personal vanity for the giveaway. Just about twilight one afternoon, a small pickup truck turns from a suburban shopping district into a street of apartment houses.
Me, riding in a truck and wearing coveralls. You ask me, Joe, this is for the birds.
Well, what's wrong with a truck? You don't even have to drive. All you got to do is pull the trigger.
It ain't good for my self-respect.
You took on even more high-tone manners since you've been away, huh? Howdy the dude, it fits.
Okay, but I don't like anybody telling me how to do my work. Who does Dave Lillian think he is?
Just the guy who's paying us, that's all.
What's Dave got against this guy Simmons?
All I know is what the boys are saying. Simmons is in real estate. He handled the deal when the city bought a piece of land out here in Brandon Heights to make an old playground.
Dave cut himself in, huh?
Yeah. Being city councilman from this ward, he got the council okay to purchase. Only he added $100,000 onto the price. Then he held down on Simmons. Dave is also in politics if the story gets out, so he wants the hush-hush put on Simmons. He ought to be right along. Gets home from work right on the button.
This is him now, Artie. In that big convertible?
Yeah.
Yeah, it's class. That's for me.
Now let him go by, then pull up alongside.
Get as close as you can, Joe. Pull ahead some more. Come on.
Okay. What do you think I got here? A flying saucer?
That's good. Hold it steady.
He's going to crack that tree.
I hate to see a car like that smashed up.
See anyone around?
No. You?
No. There's a cinch now, Artie. We leave the truck at the filling station, get out of these coveralls in the washroom, grab a cab to the highway, and wait till Dave shows up. Nice work, Artie. Nice work.
California this late in the day. All the way out here in the suburbs, too.
What they pay me for, Harrington? Hours are incidental. Front of that car's a mess.
Yeah, I'm glad I wasn't in it.
Simmons, did you say?
That's right, Fred Simmons, real estate man, bachelor, early 30s.
Any motive apparent for this murder?
No, not yet, Chief. Could be a gang job, though. Some hoods letting go from a passing vehicle. Maybe a truck.
Oh, what do you mean, maybe a truck?
Well, you see that delicatessen sign just past the drugstore?
Yeah?
A guy named Al Wiley runs that delicatessen. He heard 3 shots. Heard the car crash the tree. Got to the door in time to see a vehicle make a left turn where the street light is. Thinks it was a quarter-ton pickup truck.
Contact radio division. Alert all prowl cars to be on the lookout for a quarter-ton pickup in this area. And probably abandoned by now.
Will do, Chief. You be at the office?
Later on, after I talk with the medical examiner, we'll want a complete fill-in on Simmons, too. Character, business associate, social background, everything. If it's a gang killing, it could be a tough one to crack. Let's get on it, Harrington.
District Attorney's office.
Good morning, Bright Eyes. This is Don Juan.
I'm thrilled. What do you want, Harrington?
The chief in yet?
No.
I don't wonder. He worked most of last night.
Any message? Oh, wait a minute. Here he is. Harrington, cigarette.
Thanks. Yes, Harrington?
Hi, Chief. I'm at a filling station. Brandon Heights, Maple and Dorchester Streets. City pickup truck was left here overnight. When the truck drove in, 2 guys in coveralls got out and went into the washroom. He didn't notice when they came out.
Anything else?
Yep. A .45 caliber cartridge case was on the running board. That's what made this guy report it in.
It's beginning to add up now, Harrington. Medical examiner said Simmons was killed with .45 caliber bullets. Hold that truck till I get out there.
Okay, Chief.
You got my note about Simmons, Miss Miller?
Yes, I'm just typing up.
I wasn't able to get much of a fill-in on him last night. Got sidetracked, looking for witnesses, talking with stoolies. All of them deaf and dumb.
So I try the real estate board, Mr. Garrett?
That's a good idea. Also call the chief of the city maintenance crew. Truck dispatcher, too. Find out why one of their pickups should be left overnight at a Branding Heights filling station. Who was driving it, and all the details.
Yes, sir.
Oh, one thing more. Check the modus operandi of this murder with Lieutenant O'Brien, Detective Division. Some specialist in motorized killing seems to be in town. I guess that's all.
You're getting those dark circles under your eyes again, Mr. Garrett.
Huh?
You better get a good night's sleep tonight. After all, you can't work around the clock.
The trouble is we're dealing with crime, Miss Miller. And crime does work around the clock. I'll be back in a couple of hours.
Yes, sir.
You sure got out here quick, Chief.
That's the truck over there, eh?
Yeah. I'll go get the night man. He wanted some food. We didn't think he'd get out here so soon.
And you got his story, didn't you, Harrington?
Yeah.
I'll let him have his breakfast. I'll talk with him when he gets back. In the washroom unlocked?
No. I got the key. I didn't look in there yet, Chief. Waited for you. The only place they could have hid the gun is in that towel disposal unit there. Stick. There we are, Chief. Just a bunch of used paper towels.
Stuff them out on the floor. Towels, huh? Look again, Harrington.
Hey. Coverall. 2 sets of them.
May have had these on over their regular clothes. Stuffed the coveralls in that unit, walked down the street to a waiting automobile, or maybe they took a taxi.
I'll check the cab companies.
Have the lab boys take along these coveralls. Come on, let's go talk to your night man.
Lieutenant O'Brien called, Mr. Garrett.
And?
About your MO request. He said there were half a dozen figure men in town who could have done that job.
You got the list, Miss Miller?
Yes, right here.
Mickey Stone, Gypsy Delpot, Pope Madroni, Joe Caesar, Artie the dude.
Lieutenant wanted to know if you wanted any of them brought in for questioning.
Absolutely. Unless they've got ironclad alibis.
I'll call him back.
You got anything on Timmons?
The secretary of the real estate board said Timmons was pretty much a lone wolf. None of the real estate people knew him well. He said he cultivated politicians, put over a couple of unethical deals. The board reprimanded him.
Politicians, huh? Let's see now. Councilman Dave Lillian was in on that playground deal. He recommended the purchase of the city council.
He's the one who ordered the inspection of city-owned trucks to be held yesterday.
Now, who told you that?
The chief of the maintenance crew. He thinks the pickup was driven away during the afternoon.
Well, I'll buy that. Have we anything on Dave Lillian in our files?
I'll see him, Mr. Garrett. Langdon, Libby, Lillian, yes.
Oh, thanks. Yeah. Dave Lillian started that truck war when he cut his rates on long-distance hauling. Question and murder of truck driver from rival company. Or bodyguard. I'll be.
You found something?
It could be. Now, while I'm out, Miss Miller, call the man who sold that playground land to the city. As I recall, his name is Sloan. Ask him to come here to the office. We're going to dig into that deal.
Yes, sir.
Oh, right now, call Harrington, police lab. Tell him I'll pick him up in 5 minutes.
Shall I tell him where you're going?
Yeah, to Dave Lillian's office. That bodyguard of Lillian's was Artie the Dude Campello.
Come in.
I'm Garrett, District Attorney, Mr. Lillian. See, we met at the Athletic Club banquet last year.
Oh, yeah. How are you, Garrett?
My assistant, Mr. Harrington.
Glad to know you. How do? Sit down, boys. What can I do for you?
Well, you know Fred Timmons was murdered last night, I suppose.
Yeah, too bad. Nice guy, Fred. Don't know who's going to get him.
You know him well?
Oh, just in a business way. He got me interested in that land for the playground out in my ward. Kids need a playground bad.
The city paid plenty, I understand.
Only good piece of property around. Owner knew it, held out for his price, city paid it. People wanted that playground.
$250,000.
Wow.
Did Sloan get all that?
What do you mean, did he get all of it? Certainly he did. It's on the city books. Go take a look.
Did Sloan get all of it? Mr. Lillian, why did you order the inspection of the city trucks to be held ahead of schedule?
Because I'll be out of town in 2 weeks for a month on business. Wanted to get the inspection over with before I leave.
Seems like quite a coincidence those trucks should be ordered out the day Timmons was murdered.
Look, Garrett, what are you trying to say?
Just that.
If you're making any cracks, you better pull in your neck fast. I don't know nothing about it. I was in the mayor's office when it happened, so just lay off, see? I got plenty of political influence. I could have your job, just like that.
Why, you redneck. I'm not accusing anybody, Mr. Lillian. Not yet. But stick around, brother. It may not be too long. This is David Bryan. Before we continue with Mr. District Attorney in the case of the land swindle murder, here is an important message from our sponsor. And now back to David Bryan, starring as Paul Garrett, Mr. District Attorney. Investigation showed that the pickup truck murder of Fred Timmons, real estate agent, might be linked to a recent sale of land to the city for a suburban playground. A deal which Timmons had handled together with city councilman Dave Lillian. When I asked Dave Lillian why he had ordered the city-owned trucks left out in the parking area for inspection 2 weeks ahead of the regular schedule, he blew his top and threatened to have my job. Now, a couple of days later...
District Attorney's office?
Paul Garrett, Miss Miller.
Yes, Mr. Garrett.
I'm over at the police lab. Anything come in?
2 reports, both from Detective Division.
What are they?
2 of those sugar men have sound alibis shown in the drone. Joe Delcott's thought to be in Chicago. Lieutenant O'Brien's taking on him through the Chicago police.
What about Artie Campello?
Well, they're looking for him. Also for Joe Caesar.
Tell them to put on more men. Comb the city. I want those foods brought in.
Yes, sir. The second report, a stakeout's been assigned to cover Dave Lillian. That's all at present.
Okay. You gotten in touch with Sloan yet, Miss Miller?
No, his secretary won't give me any information. Just says Sloan and his wife are out of town on vacation. She doesn't know where they went or when they'll be back.
All right. Then do this. Get a list of Sloan's relatives with addresses. Also his wife's relatives. People on vacation send back postcards. We'll locate Sloan that way.
I'll check on that right away, Mr. Garrett.
Good. Call me back if anything breaks.
Yes, sir.
You got anything, Harrington?
Yeah, finally, Chief. Sergeant sent his apologies. Got 3 men out with the flu. Bunch of reports to the commissioner.
Yes, I know. Are those photo blow-ups?
Uh-huh. 5 of this from a rough cloth suit inside one set of his coveralls. Rubbed off. Could be from one of those heavy Scotch tweeds.
Those tweeds cost money.
Plenty. You want me to check the clothing stores that might sell these tweeds?
It wouldn't do any harm, Harrington. At least get a list of them. Won't be many that sell that expensive stuff.
Now I'll get a list of the stores. Sergeant downstairs. Shall I answer that?
Yes, might be for me.
Police laboratory.
Mr. Garrett's still there?
He sure is. Just a second. It's Miss Miller, Chief.
Thanks. Yes, Miss Miller?
I just had a call from the Northside Cab Company, Mr. Garrett. One of their drivers picked up 2 men out in Brandon Heights about 5:30 the night of the murder. Eddie Marco drives a night shift, 4 in the afternoon till midnight.
Harrington and I'll go right out there. Call him back. Tell him to have Marco at the company's office. Oh, also ask him to pull that cab off the street. Put a standby on it for the lab boys, in case this one bounces right.
Yes, Mr. Garrett.
Thanks, Miss Miller. Bye now.
Bye.
What's up, Chief, huh?
No, we don't know yet. What's the name of that police artist? The one that does those crayon drawings.
Oh, Figoletti. Mike Figoletti.
Well, call him. Tell him we want him to go along out to the Brandon Heights. Stop in 5 minutes. Bring his kit.
Okay.
This may be the break we need, Harrington. You can be setting up, Mike, while we establish the route on this map.
Okay, Mr. Garrett.
Now, Marco, show me where you picked up those 2 men.
Just let me find where I am on the map. Here. Here's Maple and Dorchester, right here. Oh, yeah. Right about here is my stand, see? Just past the Brandon Theater. The 2 guys got in at the stand.
Well, where'd you drop them off?
Over at the corner of Edgemont and Carlton.
Trace the route for us on the map. The way you went from your stand.
Yeah. I drove up here to 9th Avenue, went straight out Riverside. And there's Edgemont and Carlton. Marco, did you notice them throw anything out of the cab? You know, anything like a gun for example? No. Like I said, I wasn't paying much attention. What'd they look like? Their builds? Well, one of the guys was about medium height. Built pretty solid. The other one was small and skinny. About my build. I noticed him because he was a sharp dresser. Oh, boy.
Go on.
Well, he was wearing a suit like, I guess like one of them English suits you see in the movies.
Tweed?
Yeah, maybe. I guess that's what it was. I don't know much about tweed.
You get a look at his face.
It's pretty good. He's the one give directions. Had kind of...
Hold it, Marco. You ready, Mike?
Shoot.
Now, he's going to make a drawing of your description, Marco, so don't talk too fast.
I'll keep up with him, Mr. Garrett.
Okay. Here's a kind of a what, Marco?
Kind of narrow face-like. Long jaw. It kind of faded back a little, though, you know. What about the eyes? Protrude or deep set? Deep set. Close together, too. I noticed that okay. Nose? Long? Short? Flat? Pretty long, I'd say. Like this? Yeah. Eyebrows? Arched or flat? Gee, I don't remember about them. Like this? No, that don't ring no bell. Well, like this then? Yeah, more like that. Remember about the ears? Yeah, They stuck out from his head. He had a hat on, too, kind of an old squash felt hat. Didn't go with his suit at all.
Okay. And that look anything like him, Marco?
Yeah. Hey, I'll say it looks like him, and it is him.
You'd swear to that?
I'll say I would, Mr. Gert. Hey, don't I wish I could draw like that, wouldn't I? That's Artie the dude, Chief.
The Artie, your twin brother. How about the other guy, Marco? Can you describe his face?
Well, I tried. Won't be so good, though. I didn't know him so much.
Now, do your best. Be right back after I find the phone and call my office. Ivan.
Okay, Chief. Phone right down this corridor.
We'll have Mike make copies of those drawings. Check them in with R&I. They must have a mug shot of Artie and Joe Caesar. The other one is Joe.
I'd bet on it. They've worked together before.
Now we've got to find the store where Artie bought that suit. Ransack this town, also the town where he's been. O'Brien will know. Show the salesman the drawings and the mug shots.
Got it, Chief.
What else? Extend the search for the murder weapon along the rest of the route. Get stakeouts in that area around Edgemont and Carlton.
All over the shouting, huh, Chief?
No, it isn't. The juries want proof, remember? And so far, we haven't got proof.
Good morning, Mr. Garrett.
Good morning, Miss Miller. Or good afternoon.
Only 11 o'clock.
I overslept. First time that's happened in months.
You needed it.
Good for the dark circles, eh?
There you go.
Then I'll try oversleeping again sometime.
Do that tomorrow morning.
You'll spoil me, Miss Miller. Any calls?
Harrington called in some time ago.
Good.
He found out that Sloane's wife has a sister living out at the Heights. So he's going to try to find out from her where Sloane is.
Well, we got to locate that guy, and soon. Maybe he's the one that ordered the murder. Maybe Timmons held out on him.
Sloane?
I said maybe, Miss Miller. At least I don't know that he didn't.
Morning, Chief.
Good morning, Harrington.
Well, you look at that grin on him, Mr. Garrett.
Yeah. Let's have it.
Well, Sloane's in Miami, Florida. Got his address right here.
Got it from his sister-in-law.
Oh, easy. You know how it is with me and women, Chief. I charm them.
Aren't you wonderful?
All kidding aside, you had the right hunch about that postcard business. And the lady didn't know anything at all was wrong. I told her I was anxious to get in touch with Sloane on the business matter. She opened right up. Got the card from her sister yesterday afternoon.
You've earned yourself a trip, Harrington.
What do you mean, Chief?
Trip to Florida. Reserve a seat for Harrington on the plane south, Miss Miller.
Yes, sir.
He's going to Miami to bring Sloane back.
Sit down, will you, Artie? You make me nervous all the time walking around. So what do I do? Sit down and twirl my thumb some more? Look, Joe, either I get out of this apartment tonight or I go nuts. Be dark in another half hour. I'm going out and catch a movie. See what's in the papers. Hey, you're taking a chance. Okay, I'm taking a chance. Hey, stay up here. I'm taking a chance going off my rocker. You come out with me, Joe? I don't know. I think it over. I wish I'd stayed in Cleveland. Doesn't work coming back here for that job. Hold it, Artie. Put that gun out of sight. Maybe the cops. The cops, they'll shoot it out. They ain't taking me. Who is it? Me, Davy Lilia. Open up, will you? Let him in, Artie. It's about time you showed up, Lillian. Get your things together, boys. We gotta get out of here in a hurry. What's wrong? What's right, you mean? Ain't you read the papers? Told us to stay in his hideout, didn't you? Well, what's in the papers? The DA's busting this case wide open. Had Sloan brought from Miami. The guy spilled over plenty. Said he sold that land for only $150,000 and how I gave him $5,000 extra to swear the city paid him $250,000. Get your things together. My car's up the block. Come dark, we're shaking this town. For keeps.
That's the apartment house, Harrington. Pull in here. That the one Lillian went in? Brownstone front. Yes, according to the stakeout message, it is. Hope we're not too late.
We going in there from Chief?
If necessary. We'll wait out here for a few minutes, though. They might come out. Let's get out of this car.
Okay.
Better get close to the building.
Maybe they've already skipped.
I think they'd wait till dark. It's getting dark now.
Wait a minute, hold it. There's somebody coming out. 3 guys. It's them, Chief.
Come on.
All right. They spotted us.
Robin, Sergeant.
There goes Artie back into the building. In the lobby, Chief. Trying to unlock the inner door. May have a gun.
Knock it off, Artie.
You ain't taking me, Copper. You want to shoot it out, okay?
Watch him, Chief.
Don't reach for that gun, Artie. I don't want to have to kill you.
Right, shoot, Chief. Phew. I thought he had you.
The boy stopped those other 2?
I'll have a look. Yep, they got him. Dave Lilina and Joe Caesar.
Hey, get a doctor, will you? This arm's hurt bad.
You'll get your doctor, Artie. Speaking of guns, that 45 on the floor interests me. Bring it along, Harrington. We'll have ballistic test fire it. Might be the murder weapon. Put the handcuffs on him, Harrington.
Right.
It's arm.
All right. We're going right down to headquarters. There'll be a doctor there. But believe me, Artie, you've got more to worry about than that arm. Plenty more. Let's go. This is David Bryan again. I hope you've enjoyed this case from the file of Mr. District Attorney. I'll be back in just a moment after this message from our sponsor. Now, here's the star of Mr. District Attorney, David Bryan, with a word about the program you have just heard. You may recall the case. The gun we took from Artie the Dude turned out to be the murder weapon. That and the testimony of the taxi driver Marco and the clothing store clerk who sold Artie the tweed suit did the job. Artie and Joe Caesar were convicted of murder in the first degree. Dave Lillian, convicted of hiring the killers, got a life sentence. For aiding and abetting in an attempt to defraud, Sloan was sentenced to 5 years in state prison. Now, this is David Bryan inviting you to join us when we present our next case based on the facts of crime from the file of Mr. District Attorney.
Mr. District Attorney was originated by Philip H. Lawrence.